comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out the 37.
Oh!
Cabot.
Where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.
A push for the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it at Auto Club. Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the BTDY Racing Series here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway regular season finale here tonight. And it's going to be a great race, I can tell you that. A little out of breath, sorry. But welcome here tonight. A long race here tonight, the Marathon 300, as they call it. And basically, the version of BTDY is Coca-Cola 600, but at least we're in Xfinity cars to make it a full-length Xfinity Series race. I'm Alec Martinez, and alongside me tonight is going to be my producer and co-commentator, Logan Thurkeld. Logan, it's great to be back here at Charlotte, and I think we're in for a good one.
We absolutely are. I know it's going to get slippery and slidey out there. The weather's not going to be the same this time as it has been. We're going to start out with a little bit of overcast tonight, but it's progressively going to get more clear and hotter on the track. It's going to be one to see. Already starting out with 109 degrees on the track surface right now,
Yep.
So it's just going to get hotter.
And to point out, that is already 10 degrees hotter than what it was in practice and qualifying. It's just started, and we'll take a look at our track info here. As this track opened up on June 15th, 1960 by Humpy Wheeler, who was the track owner, now owned by the Speedway Motorsports Incorporated team. And there it is, 1.5 miles, 24-degree bankings in the turns, 5 degrees on the backstretch, and a dogleg quad oval on the front stretch. And this track presents a unique challenge, and I think we're going to see all drivers get thrown out of loop here sometimes when we see drivers go, all over the racetrack. And I think today, with how hot the track is getting, I would not be surprised if we see multiple lanes being used. We saw in the real Xfinity Series, guys being all the way up on the wall, all the way to the bottom. So it'll be interesting to see. How about we go down to the track for qualifying for today's race? And 200 laps is a lot of laps to really get through. It can get you out of a bad starting position, as there's AJ Stravato on the racetrack, currently third in points, and two-time winner this season. As you can see, with the paint on the bottom, if we can get let me see what lap he's on here, but should be coming here to, I believe, finish his lap, or at least lap 2. And on the board, AJ Stravato is going to move up to second on the board, 3/1000ths of a second off, and that is very, very close. There is. How about Max Cost? You're running the outside lane. Let's get on board here with the VSPEED Serum Chevrolet Camaro of Max Cost, currently a little bit outside on the outside looking in. Going to need a big night for Max and some trouble for others to probably get through. As you can see, he's shutting it down for his qualifying lap. How about, let's see, Joshua Banks on the racetrack right now. This might be an interesting lap to see, as the Toyota Supra out on the racetrack in that 35. Different looking scheme supported by Joshua Banks here tonight. Do you like it there? Is this the AB Toyota Supra 45th anniversary for the Matco Tools? And he's just starting. So now how about we actually get the onboard there? Is that first lap goes to P17, and this time utilizing the outside lane. That's something I love to see, and that's going to be something we all are going to love to see as racing fans. I think we're going to be able to see multiple lines, and especially as the clouds begin to lift, the sun will begin to start coming out. The track temperature is going to change massively throughout the entire race. When the race gets going, I mean, we're barely mostly cloudy. The race is going to start clear, and it's going to get clear throughout the entire duration of the race. And I believe by about 4 o'clock in sim time, we'll see it get even different, as Banks goes 14th on the board with the 30.714, and most likely going to wrap up qualifying. And Seth Hatchell looks to be on the pole, and I don't think Gardner, Newman, or Ostrowski is going to run a lap. So that'll do it for qualifying, with Hatchell getting a pole here in that number 8 car. Now let's go into the main part of tonight. Points here, as this is the regular season finale before we go to the chase for the BTDY Cup. As you can see, the regular season championship contenders, from Bailey Turner to Brody Hayes, still with a mathematical shot to win the regular season championship, which will be bonus points as well. Joshua Banks and Angelo Ronis, neither of them, I believe, have wins, so they are locked in to the chase for the BTDY Cup. As Noah Mikulski all the way to Mark Emerson still have a chance to make it in the chase, although Max Cost all the way down to Dennis Faircloth, unfortunately, mathematically eliminated from chase contention. But the big key here tonight, with so many cars in the field, I believe 27, a lot of cars, a lot of chance to lose or gain points. I think if you're Mikulski or if you're Mayato, you're pretty safe, although you need a good night. Samard as well. But Atkins all the way to Starling, very, very well. Any of those guys have a bad night will be the race for them. And I think that's going to be a big key. And we'll keep the points updated. We'll keep the points live, and we'll try to see if we can do what we can. And as we'll go to gridding here, and I tell you what, Logan, I'm excited for this race tonight. I think we're going to be in for a great treat.
I think we are too, and it's going to be a good one. You know, it's going to be long, 200 laps here. It's not going to be an easy feat for anybody, but whoever can stick it out the longest has the best chance, you know? Whoever can keep it clean the longest, that is.
Yes, and this race is going to be a race of attrition, could be a race of strategy. The last 2 years have went caution-free. Will we be able to do that tonight? And caution-free, or actually, I shouldn't say that. The last race in the Xfinity Series cars went caution-free. The Cup car race, I believe, 2 years ago was the only one that didn't go caution-free. I believe that was last year when there was a wreck on the start. But from there, race did go caution-free. And we know 200 miles with no stage breaks. That'll be very interesting to see once we get to strategy in this race. Bailey Turner, your points leader right now, one of those guys who's won this race multiple times on strategy. That'll be something to look forward to throughout this race. And how about we go to our starting grid here for the BTDY Marathon 300 here, as Seth Hatchell is on the pole with a 30.557 in qualifying. What a lap from him, as well as AJ Stravato with a 30.560 on the front row. Then Keith Mayato, Seth Hatchell's teammate, rolls off third. Noah Mikulski rolls off in fourth. Row number 3 has Jeff Wright, the man chasing for the regular season championship, has an advantage over Bailey Turner starting in fifth. Cody Atkins going to start off sixth. Then Brody Hayes in 7th, Chris Samard 8th, Ray Massey will come home in 9th, and then there's the magic man himself, Adam Cabot, rolling off 10th.
Back here in 11th behind Cabot, we have Kyle McGarvey next to Bailey Turner, who will be looking to gain some positioning here on the restart on Jeff Wright, keep himself up there. Behind them, Angelo Ronis next to Joshua Banks. 15th, we have Eric Hutton in the 88 next to Alan Dice. 17th, Dallas Sullivan next to Caleb Weekly. Sorry, skipped a little bit there. Nick Starling in the 18th, starting out in 19th, next to Dennis Faircloth.
Then 21st is Dennis Steele, Max Cost 22nd. Then Timmy Emanuele rolls off 23rd, with Justin Carey rolling off 24th. Row 14, I believe, well, let me see, sorry, row 13, not doing my math right, is Nick Gardner in 25th. Nathan Ostrowski is 26th. Rounding out the 27-car field tonight is Michael Newman, as we'll have another lap of pacing as the pace car lights are still on. So, gives us time to, how about we pull up our pole sitter, Seth Hatchell, and see what he's thinking here for tonight's race.
Absolutely.
Seth Hatchell, Alec Martinez, Logan Thurkeld in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it laid down a good lap with a 30.5, but the race track conditions way different already. 20 degrees hotter than what it was in practice, and looking like another 20, or it looks like about 15 degrees hotter than what it was in qualifying. How are you expecting to tackle this race?
Don't really know yet. I guess that's the exciting part for everybody watching here. Really, for my race, just gotta get control of the lead here quick and maintain it and see how the race plays out. Historically, this race goes green pretty frequently. And I feel like I have pretty decent long run pace, so I just gotta have the track position here.
For sure. Well, you got 300 miles to figure it out, Seth. We appreciate your time. Good luck tonight, and maybe we'll be talking to you at the end of this thing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And that's Seth Hatchell, the pole sitter, as we go a half a lap until 300 miles of racing. Logan, who is your pick to win this Marathon 300?
You know, it's really hard to say. They were all looking extremely good in practice. But, you know, I think Jeff Wright's got a chip on his shoulder this week. He wants to take that #1 spot in the regular season points, so I think he's going to come out with a vengeance tonight, especially with that head start on Bailey. So I'm going to go with Jeff tonight.
I like that. And I'm going to go with the guy who's been really good on the long runs the last few weeks, and I just think starting on the front row, you give him a little bit of clean air early, could go out and lead a lot of laps in this thing, and I think AJ Stravato, the Italian stallion, might get another win. As we are getting ready to go green, the pace car will pull off. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up for 300 miles from NASCAR's backyard here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Green flag is out, and we are underway for the Marathon 300, spinning the tires on the start, and cars fitting out, some even hitting the wall as we get going for 300 miles here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Track way hotter than it was in practice.
Yeah, that was an immediate observation on that. That was an insane restart.
As we go down the backstretch for the first time, Seth Hatchell on the outside. Stravato goes down to the inside, side by side into turn one. Then, how about the 03 Noah Mahalski having a great qualifying position here? Has a chance at the lead as guys moving around on the racetrack trying to find grip. Hatchell will get the lead and get the lap led by about a half a car length, but Stravato challenges him into turn number one. Still side by side here off of turn two. Hatchell with the momentum on the outside, going to prevail to the lead. Stravato still fighting back on the inside on the left rear quarter panel of the 8 car. Sends it back down to the bottom. Both cars bob and weave into the corner. Here comes Noah Mahalski, one of those guys that should have had a chance to win this race here last year, but was barely beat by Yusuf Ghali. And how about that? Hatchell finally going to clear. Stravato cuts back in line. Now Mahalski tucks in line in third, the highest running Ford so far. The VSPEED teammates of Hayes and Mayato side by side. And how about this behind them? You can see a battle for, I believe, 7th on the racetrack. Ray Massey, Cody Atkins, Adam Cabot as well, all inside the top 10, only separated by about a second. And this track, hot and slick, and we'll get an update on the track temperature. The race started off at 125 degrees. Practice was 98. The track has already went up 2 degrees at 127. This track continuing to get hotter and hotter as the day goes on. Will it cool down as the sun begins to set, or will it get a little bit hotter? As you can see, still a little bit of clouds around the racetrack, but as this race goes on, it looks like the forecast predicting hot, clear, and sunny, so it's going to get even hotter as this race goes down without any clouds in the sky.
I was looking at the forecast on this race, and it looks like it's going to clear up eventually. I would say probably a third of the way through the race, we should start seeing some more sunshine on the track. So that's when things will get interesting.
Yeah, we got about 30 minutes till probably this track really is going to hit peak temperature, and that'll be maybe during the middle of a long run, which will affect the handling of these cars even more, especially with old tires. Is up at the front, the top 3 kind of singling it out. But look at this battle. Keith Mayato, Jeff Wright, battling for 5th on the racetrack, and behind them is a side-by-side battle between Ray Massey, Cody Atkins. Ray Massey, one of those guys who's just yet to get that first win, and I think tonight, maybe a long race, placed into Ray Massey's hands, who's been pretty decent on the mile and a half, and maybe a race like tonight can help him get that first win and a long one here. As you can see, guys still are searching all over the racetrack. There's Banks getting by Chris Samard here for 14th on the racetrack. As remember, 27 race cars on the racetrack. Faircloth and Starling battling further back. That's for 19th on the racetrack. You can see Starling utilizing the outside lane. And about Dennis Faircloth, great looking red, white, and blue paint scheme. Obviously just coming off of Memorial Day weekend. And thank you to all those who have served and fought for our great country and have paid the ultimate sacrifice. So we appreciate those, and all the families watching, welcome, as we are barely 7 laps at a 200 and a long way to go. And I just got the sense of feeling that this race is looking like it's got a pretty green feel to it. Although I say that, there's a side-by-side battle between Atkins and Cabot.
I mean, so far so good. Obviously don't want to jinx anything too early. 8 laps into it now. It's just going to get harder as time goes on, and these guys will get more aggressive, but it does have a very good green feeling so far. And
right now, noticing everybody on the bottom, I think saving tires a little bit. Not really seeing a lot of movement, but I do see a lot of guys kind of just trying to ease it off on the corners here. Be easy with it here. Look at this battle here. Oh, Atkins slams the outside wall right next to Cabot and almost gets into his right rear quarter panel. And that heavy damage to the 55 early in this race. And again, 300 miles. It's a long way to go, especially with no cautions. Got to take care of the car early. And there's Bailey Turner, points leader, in 11th, struggling to get some track position right now. Right, 5 points ahead, would win him the regular season championship. And on board with Bailey Turner next to Cody Atkins. How about this battle for the lead? Seth Hatchell, AJ Stravato going at it. Noah Mahalski sitting right behind them as well. Just trying to find a way to get around him here. Look at Stravato on the inside. Hatchell going to try to go defensive on the outside, hook the seam on the outside, maybe get momentum off the corner here as they go down the backstretch. Hatchell going to utilize momentum, and I believe won't be able to power all the way by him, but at least keep him in check on the inside.
Stravato's going to do everything he can to stay close to Hatchell here, and vice versa. And Mahalski's not going to let him get away easily either.
And at the line, Hatchell still gets the lap led, but this time Stravato going to drive it into turn number 1. Will he be able to get the spot? Slides up on the inside with the 8 to his outside. Not getting all the side force he wants, and this time he'll at least pull even with Hatchell, but Hatchell carrying momentum down the backstretch here is that big screen is massive down the backstretch here. As you can see, Stravato continues to get on the inside. This time, lets it roll a little bit more. Hatchell's going to have a good run on the exit of 4. Will he have a chance to get the lead? At the line, I believe Hatchell's still going to get the lap led. This time, Stravato back down on the inside. Can Hatchell use that outside lane and get all the way by Stravato? The outside lane this time looks like it's going to be able to prevail. He's going to get a big run down the backstretch here, and I believe will clear the 33 of Stravato.
Mahalski got into the wall just a tad there, so he's going to lose a little bit of ground on these two as they single file out.
Oh, you
have a
can
good
see
chance
the
of pulling away.
Lose the nose there and right on the dirty air, the 8, and although he loosened up the 8 there on the exit, packing air on the left rear to loosen the 8 car up, but Hatchell regains the lead now. Does it make Stravato try to search around for more grip? As you can see, Hatchell catch the apron there, and usually with the line here at Charlotte, you want to be on your left side's on that blue and white paint on the bottom, especially in the corners. Gets so much momentum, or actually keeps the rotation of the car so much better. And there comes Angelo Rones to the inside of teammate Adam Cabot. He's going to get that spot. 29 moves up to 7th. Cabot back down to 8th. Behind them, Cody Atkins has had a not quick, but a slow and painful fall back, trickle down the field. He's fallen back to 13th, now battling for 14th with Kyle McGarvey. There's Eric Hutton as well, worked up into the 11th, trying to get inside the top 10. Behind this battle, that's the battle for, I believe, 10th on the racetrack between he and Ray Massey. Tucked back in line, and Hutton will have to wait again and battle up inside the top 5 now. Here comes Brody Hayes to the inside of Noah Mahalski.
Just to take it back a tad there, did you notice who's already up in the top 10, Alec?
Would that be Bailey Turner in the 24?
Bailey Turner.
Hey, he's worked himself up into 9th. Look at this battle for 3rd on the racetrack. It's Mahalski on the outside, Hayes on the inside. Hayes gets by, and now Mahalski going to try the crossover underneath him off of turn 2. Great move from the 03 car, but will it be able to stick here into turn number 3? Is Hayes going to utilize the outside lane? Mahalski on the inside, although he pushes up the racetrack, and Hayes going to be able to get by, finding some grip there on the outside lane. And he gets the wall there on the exit.
Just enough of a scrape to make some smoke, but not enough to slow him down.
Doesn't want to damage the right rear or right front. That's the worst part of the race car to damage. Is here comes Mahalski back by, but there comes Hayes with the crossover on the inside. Jeff Wright gonna get a nice run down the backstretch. What is he gonna do with the run? He looks down to the inside to take them 3 wide into turn number 3 and get the 2-for-1 special. Can he make it stick? He'll get to the inside of Hayes. Mahalski utilizing the outside lane, gonna pinch the 37 there off the corner. They're gonna make a little contact. Wright gets knocked sideways through the turf. He'll still get to the inside of Hayes, but now Hayes on the defensive.
That was quite the save by Jeff Wright on that one. Coming across the infield at almost 200 miles an hour.
And Hayes loses the spot here to Jeff Wright, and now Mahalski might be the next victim to the 48 here, who with the 03 looks like to just be falling off little by little here as this race goes on, as there goes Wright way up the racetrack here, and now Hayes looking back down to the inside won't be able to get around him. Keith Mayato, Angelo Ronis closing up as well.
They're back. Bailey Turner now back in 10th, but he's got a battle all around him. Joshua Banks behind him. Eric Hutton, Adam Cabot in front of him. Where is he going to go, Alec?
Well, he's right now, everybody kind of stuck to the bottom. Just saw Jeff Wright utilize the outside lane, and he got a heck of a run as Mahalski almost gets to the wall in the straightaway, and Wright going to blow by the 03 into turn number 3. Although slides up the racetrack, maybe Mahalski tried to do the crossover, but it looks like the 48 found a little something there in turns 1 and 2 and utilized the outside lane, able to get around the 03. Let's see if he utilizes the outside lane again into 1. I think he'll stay, but now AJ Stravato going to the outside.
I was worried for Seth early when he was doing this side-by-side battle with Stravato and running that high line. I know 9 times out of 10, the high line on just about any track will chew up your tires faster than anything. That's not what you want on such a hot day.
Yeah, and the Hayes car going to lose another spot to teammate Keith Mayato. And Angelo Ronis seems to have some really good pace in that 29 car. He's up to 7th from his starting spot. And I'll tell you what, the 29's got some really good speed. He'll go to the outside of Hayes and Mayato here. Let's see if he can maybe pick one of these spots here. He's out on board with the 29. Going to get to the outside of Brody Hayes, although he has to get out of the gas, gets the wall. Had a lot of grip and then just lost it on the exit of the corner. Not sure what happened there. Just looks like he just lost a little bit there, and not a lot of damage. Maybe a little scrape to the right rear, but keeps it going. And it makes you wonder: is that outside lane? Is it working right now, or is it not? It seems like right now it's really slick up there and not utilizing, getting a lot of run and being able to utilize all that grip.
Yeah, it seems like majority of this field is choosing that lower line right now, so probably won't see too much action on that top line for probably another 20 to 30 laps whenever guys start feeling the need to make passes again.
Yeah. As Wright still sitting about a second back from Hatchell and Stravato. Stravato still on the attack, utilizing the middle lane, tries to get a wider arc than Hatchell. Hatchell seems to be struggling with front turn right now. How about Nick Starling to the inside of Kyle McGarvey and Caleb Weekly? Weekly utilizing the outside lane, and maybe that's the one thing the outside lane needs is a little rubber to get put up there. Track not completely green, but most everybody in practice running in the bottom because of the cooler temps. But now you're starting to see guys, at least middle of the pack, kind of moving around and trying to rubber up that top, and that's going to be good for everybody as this race goes on to get rubber on that top.
It's just going to take some time here. We're still very early, not even a quarter of the way through this race, almost an eighth of the way. Just about 25 laps into it. Not quite yet, though.
And Mahalski and Mayato battling side by side for 4th on the racetrack. There's Alan Dice, Cody Atkins as well. It's the battle for 17th on the racetrack. But no, Mahalski seems to be, he has a little pace, but he's just struggling a little bit on this longer run. He's kind of losing some spots slowly but surely, but loses another one to Keith Mayato. And Mayato has some good pace early, especially on this long run. 36 starting to come alive a little bit here. There's Hayes behind them. Going defensive on the outside there of Angelo Ronis. And I think the difference of track conditions, I should say, is really throwing these guys for a loop because they practice in overcast, and now this race is way more sunny on the way hotter on the racetrack, and now these guys are just kind of coming to terms with the grip on the racetrack. It's 130 degrees track temp. And I believe as this race continues to go on, it might get even hotter to about 140. So this track is going to get hotter. It's going to get slicker. And I think when it gets slicker, you're going to see guys having to really search around for grip all over the racetrack. And you can see Hayes, as these tires start to get a little bit older, Hayes is starting to make some time up on the outside.
It seems like that outside line is going to be a little bit more helpful than I thought on these longer green flag runs. But I think the short runs, I'm not too sure if that one's going to be ideal later on.
Yeah, we'll see as the track continues to get more rubber on the race, or the track continues to take more rubber in, and as the track gets hotter and slicker, more greasy with rubber getting put down. We'll see how it works. As Hayes utilizing that outside lane, he's going to get a big run on the backstretch from Mahalski for 5th, and I believe Hayes might be able to get the position into turn 3. He will. Although Noah's going to fight hard on the outside here, try not to let that happen.
He's had Ronas right in tow, so Mahalski's in danger of losing 2 positions this coming lap.
And Eric Hutton in 8th in that 88 car closed up on this battle as well. Closed up to the back of Angelo Ronas, about 2 car lengths back from him. And this time, Hayes utilizing now the middle line is Mahalski going up to the outside, see if he will be able to roll. I don't think he will. He'll get a good run, but now the 29 is going to have a chance to get underneath him. Because Mahalski back up to the outside of Hayes. Hayes going to get a lot of right rear side force taken off, but this time we'll be able to clear on the exit of the corner of 4. And now Mahalski back down to 6. Ronas now with the chance in 7th to get by here. We'll see where he'll do. If he'll go to the inside now, he'll go to the outside as we're on board with Angelo Ronas, and he'll try to utilize the outside lane to his advantage. Although he's kind of stuck behind Brody Hayes here, but this time he'll have a nice run down the backstretch. Where will he go with it? He'll look down to the inside, and now we'll see if Mahalski's going to be able to hold him off here into 3. Noah sent it into the corner on the outside. This time, I think he's going to be able to roll. Lost a little bit of center speed, but he'll have a good exit off the corner as Ronas gets loose underneath him.
And that onboard there with Ronas was really showing just how hard they're having to drive 3 and 4 right now. Not used to that. Be one of the first races without overcast in quite some time.
Yeah, these conditions way different than what we've been in the last few weeks. And there's Mahalski utilizing the outside lane to kind of go defensive on Ronas. Takes the bottom away from Angelo Ronas. You can see Ronas push up the racetrack in that wake in the dirty air of the 03. But this time with the Xfinity cars at the table, you're able to rebound even with getting in dirty air. You're able to rebound just a little bit. And that last time on the racetrack, Adam Cabot was the fastest car other than Seth Hatchell, who currently has clean air. And Cabot really been making time up in that middle lane right on the seam. The 17 car has a little bit of speed here. So there comes Ronas to the outside of Mahalski. Mahalski gets to get out of gas. Ronas hits the wall. Hutton hits the wall. And it looks like Mahalski might lose 3 spots in one corner because here comes Banks to capitalize. And now Banks to the outside of Hutton. We're starting to see cars really lose grip here as this run continues to go on. And right now, struggling just a little bit there is the 03 as he's falling back to 9th. And now Banks to the outside of Hutton.
Oh, Banks get really close to the what would be the passenger rear of Hutton there on the entrance of 1.
He's going to get to the outside lane, and there goes Joshua Banks by for what will be, if he can get clear, Hutton for 7th on the racetrack. Brody Hayes just got by Keith Mayato for 4th, excuse me, on the racetrack. And Banks going to go by on the outside here and take 7th away from Hutton. Hutton slips back to 8th. And now we're starting to see guys move around the racetrack as this run goes on. 30 laps into it, we're starting to see guys move around.
We've got a lot of different lines being ran already, so this is going to really turn out to be an exciting race, just as we had hoped for, Alec.
Yeah, this is looking good so far. It looks like bottom is better in 3 and 4, but in 1 and 2, the outside lane seems to be coming in. I think the outside lane's starting to slowly but surely, as it takes in rubber, come alive here for Adam Cabot, who's in 10th and looking to get by, looking like he's trying to get by Noah Mahalski. Bailey Turner is just still, he's outside the top 10 right here, running in 11th, and curious to see if he's saving. He is. Bailey Turner early is already clutching the car and saving fuel. See if we'll be able to hear it in turn 1, but yeah, Turner saving fuel, at least what I heard in turn 3. This time, as he goes into turn 1, as you can see Cabot trying to find a way around Mahalski. Yeah, Turner clutching the car into the corners. Interesting to see what that'll do later in this race. Could be an interesting factor. How about this? The 03 and 17 battling in front of them.
That battle right in front, I saw Cabot take the the most inside line that you can through that tri-oval area. But
big moment there for Mahalski. Got tight, and now going to lose a spot to the 17. Might lose another spot to the 24 as Mahalski back down to 10th now. Going to have to fight to stay in the top 10. Jeff Wright starting to put a little bit of pressure on AJ Stravado. That time, the fastest car on the racetrack was the 48.
by a full 1/10 of a second almost.
He's starting to get up a little bit closer. I tell you what, Joshua Banks has some speed. So does Eric Hutton as well. Those guys seem to have a pretty decent long run pace. Nick Starling got by Chris Samard. The 18 has a pretty good pace as well. There goes Banks looking on that middle lane, I should say, and trying to find a way to get maybe roll some momentum here on the outside of Ronis. He's going to have a big run, and he's going to get to the outside of Angelo Ronis, and Banks going to move up into 6th. Well, still going to struggle to get around him here. Ronis going to be on the inside, going to lose a little bit of side force. See him sliding up here. Going to get loose. Banks gets the spot ahead of him. Big moment from Keith Mayato. There you can see right in front of you there, the 36 lost a little bit of grip, and now it looks like Banks is going to get by. Now Eric Hutton going to get by Angelo Ronis. Ronis drops 2 spots back down to 8th from 6th. Good racing all around as Turner gets by Mahalski into turn number 3, and Mahalski falls outside the top 10 back to 11th. Ray Massey 12th, Nick Starling 13th. Dallas Sullivan has worked up to 15th, doing what he needs to do to get some spots, and Nick Starling, as if you don't mind pulling up the points, we'll take a look at the points here. Speaking of points, Jeff Wright gets by AJ Stravato on the racetrack, but Cody Atkins, Dallas Sullivan barely up ahead, about 9 points ahead of Justin Carey and Nick Starling. Starling doing all he can. He's up to 13th, but not enough points to gain on Sullivan or Atkins. But Atkins is having a slow and steady tumble down the running order. He is down to 20th. Right now, Starling, with the points that he has, would get ahead. So points going to be very interesting to monitor throughout this today. And as we get away from the points down, I appreciate you putting that up, Logan, just to let everybody know where everybody else sits in the point standings. Jeff Wright has gotten by AJ Stravato, and I'll tell you what, Joshua Banks and Eric Hutton are making up a whole lot of time on the outside. Banks to the inside of Hayes for 5th of 35.88, really showing some speed later in this run. It makes you wonder with Hayes falling off. Yeah, he's going to bring it out of pit lane. He will.
Very
40
early
laps.
call.
Yeah, early pit stop for the 37 of Hayes as his teammate Seth Hatchell continues to pace the field with over 37 laps led. Or actually, he might have led every single lap here today as he's lap 40 on the board. And right now, fast cars on the racetrack are Banks, Mayato, Hutton, then Wright, and then Hatchell. Hatchell falling off a little bit, but that clean air seems to be helping the 8. But the 48 slowly but surely catching here. But still got a lot of way to go. Will he be able to get by maybe with a short pit and see if he can get by him? Right now, they are about 2 seconds off the pace. Here comes Adam Cabot to pit road. And maybe Turner saving fuel. See what he can do as this run goes on as Hayes exits pit road. And this pit road, one of the more tricky pit roads to get by and get through and exit off. Because of how much little of banking there is compared to the banking on the racetrack. As you can see, Hayes blending back into traffic, going to be around what will be Kyle McGarvey, Justin Carey at 16th, 17th on the racetrack, and Carey, one of those guys fighting for a playoff spot. And look at the tire advantage he has.
Thought Hutton was making a move on Banks.
He is.
We'll take it back here and just quick look, like you said, that tire advantage on Brody Hayes' 37 machine. It's
still, yeah,
insane right now.
There's Kevin, like you said, Hutton making a move on Joshua Banks. Oh, Chris Smart, I tapped the wall on the exit there, but Hutton, that 88 is having a lot of speed. I think Stravato going to be bringing in a pit road here. He is 33 to pit road. What does that do for maybe the 48 or the what does that do for the 48 or the 8? Stravato going to make it in no problem here, and Noah Mahalski in the pit road. Sullivan slipping and sliding around, and right now Wright's got some good pace, but is it going to be good enough here? These guys still about 2.5 seconds behind Hatchell. There goes Hutton by Banks, and Hutton goes up to 4th on the racetrack. Well, would be 5th once the cycle goes through, but Hutton, a lot of speed in that Canes 88 car. The 88 has some really, really good pace.
Yeah, these guys have made a pretty good charge from about middle of the pack, Hutton and Banks, and now seeing themselves in the top 5. So that hard work has paid off late in this run. Saw them start that about 10 to 15 laps ago when they started making a charge up here.
I remember, 5 sets of tires laying in the pit. So the worst thing for I guess you could say for Joshua Banks, or not for Joshua Banks, but for Brody Hayes, Adam Cabot is if a caution comes out, they're trapped a lap down. And I mean, do you want to pit for tires again and go down a set where everybody right now still has plenty of tires in the pits, 5 in the pits for most everybody here. But this is what you have to worry about, was the difference of speed and tire advantage. You see Stravato trying to get through traffic here, and these guys slipping and sliding all over the place as Angelo Ronis brings it to pit lane. But you can see Caleb Weekly battling. That's Justin Carey in the 21 car battling. Alan Dice ahead of him. Chris Samard ahead of Dice. These guys kind of all coming back to each other here. And the 77 seems to be struggling on pace. That time 34.3. Not a lot of pace here in the 77 as the run goes on.
I think Samard might have had a little bit of a issue there with Stravato passing him. That was about it.
He did hit the wall earlier, so it makes you wonder if the tires are really starting to fall off. Ray Massey bringing it down pit lane. So interesting to see here is Cabot and Hayes still blowing by the field here. Oh, man, big moment out of Cabot battling with Keith Mayato. Eric Hutton, man, he's got some really, really good pace in that 88 car. He is starting to move. I think Hutton might have the best car in the long run. He's faster than Hatchell, but right now, if he can get by Mayato here, he might give himself at least a chance to get some track position into pit row. Although this time he's going to try short pitting in the 88. Comes to pit lane, 46 laps on the tires here. When does everybody else want to come into the pit is the question. Are they going to be able to go 50?
Well, I would almost have to think that that's what they're going for, and that'd have to be about the last one. You don't want to give these guys too much of an advantage, especially drivers like Eric Hutton that's had such a good late run, to get a good late run again. And I don't know, there's a whole dynamic to it that I'm just not wrapping my brain around.
Hatchell into pit lane, and surprising from the league on a short pit. Jeff Wright going to try to overcut him from behind as Hatchell, the leader, going to bring it down to pit lane, and this will be the first lap. Seth Hatchell hasn't led tonight, and well, what does this do for Jeff Wright or Keith Mayato, even Joshua Banks? So interesting to see here is guys with fresh tires, man, they're just starting to blow by the guys on the older tires. I mean, they are putting some substantial amount of time on these guys. Can they or will they go 50 laps? How about Bailey Turner? Can he maybe go past 50 laps? Here comes Jeff Wright to pit lane, although big slide out of Jeff Wright here into pit lane. He'll come in. Banks will take the lead. Mayato into pit lane. Turner stays out. Sullivan stays out. Dice, I believe, is going to stay out with Carey. And Emanuele, I believe, is going to stay out another lap. Nick Gardner stays out another lap. And those guys on tires, man, or older tires, are just crawling around. Cody Atkins, big development for Cody Atkins, speeding on pit road. So he is falling back to 27th, and that is big for playoff implications.
Not at all what you want.
Here comes Banks to pit road. The leader comes in, so Bailey Turner now will get the lead. Dallas Sullivan into pit road. Alan Dice into pit road. Justin Carey going to stay out another lap. I think Timmy Emanuele going to bring it in. Nick Gardner trying to stay out another lap. I know Gardner's going to bring it into pit lane in that 16 car, so is Emanuele. So Turner and Carey, the only two cars that have yet to pit. An interesting strategy for Carey as well. Another guy, both the two biggest stories in the points. Remember, Carey now has a chance to gain a lot of points with Atkins being in almost dead last, and what will be dead last. He and Nick Starling are battling for points. As here comes Turner to pit road. So he's going to be able to go 50, and Justin Carey now into pit road as well. So a lot of development here, and this should hand the lead over to Adam Cabot, Brody Hayes, AJ Stravato, Hatchell about 4 or 5 seconds behind, actually 10 seconds behind the leader, or what will be the leader, Adam Cabot. Wright still behind by a decent amount as well. So a lot of shifting and movement throughout this field, and as the green flag cycle continues to go out and go on.
The hard one to keep track of here. Everybody's on such different strategies right now.
This is what's great about a 300 mile race. There's so many different strategies that can be used and different strategies that can go on. Because no stage breaks, it's a natural playing race. NASCAR should listen to that. But yeah, have a natural race where, strategy matters. No matter when you pit, it matters. And I think Dallas Sullivan has had an issue as well. Yeah, Sullivan back down pit road. That's not good. That both the guys that we were talking about, if you want to pull up the points real quick, Logan, that we were saying with a comfortable margin in Sullivan in 11 or in 12th, Atkins in 11th, both tied in points, have now fallen to 26th and 27th on the racetrack. Justin Carey and Nick Starling have a genuine chance to point their way in.
Yeah, that's a huge development. And correct me if I'm wrong, looks like Dallas Sullivan's putting it behind the wall.
No, Sullivan's still on pit road. He's fallen 2 laps down, and I don't know if he's put it behind the wall yet, but he is 2 laps down still in his pit box now, getting going. But Sullivan losing 2 laps already, might lose a 3rd one. Justin Carey, who is sitting, 9 points behind, now has a genuine chance to gain spots, as he is 7 spots ahead. Currently the second to last car on the lead lap, but he's got such a tire advantage, he might be able to get by a Cost, Samard, or Weekly, who have a little bit older tires as this run continues to play out. And how about Adam Cabot able to get to the lead 2 seconds ahead of Brody Hayes, and then 2.5 seconds ahead of AJ Stravado, who I believe will get by Hayes no problem here. And Stravado looks like has a little bit of pace as this run goes on, but still a little bit to go until we get to Seth Hatchell.
That's sitting up here in 4th place after leading the biggest majority of that start. But he's got to chase down AJ Stravado, Brody Hayes, Adam Cabot now. But does have Angelo Ronas lurking in that rearview mirror. Jeff Wright behind him, Eric Hutton, Keith Maioto, Ray Massey, Noah Michalski. Your top 10 at the moment.
Yes, and Bailey Turner, who is on fresher tires here, the freshest tires in the field, I believe, up to 14th, just got by Dennis Faircloth, Kyle McGarvey, older tires ahead of him. But curious to see if that strategy will work as we go later in this race and how the strategy could shake out. I mean, still 145 laps to go, still a long way, probably another 3 set of pit stops. Stravado battling the lap car, Nick Gardner, who has fresher tires, trying to get by both he and Brody Hayes. Ostrowski behind them with a little bit of fresher tires as well. So these lap cars, another thing with a lot of cars in the field, lap cars could become a little bit, not an issue, but could become a little bit of a factor as well, as Gardner tries to go around. And that, with them battling with the lap cars, has allowed Seth Hatchell to close in on the battle with these guys, and Hatchell with significantly fresher tires than these guys. So good chance here, Wright as well, on older or fresher tires than all of these guys, and who we could have said might have had a fresher or a better car with a chance. The one thing I do wish I would have seen was Eric Hutton stay out longer. Him with now older tires, who might have had a really good long run car, struggling. How about Seth Hatchell going through the middle of both of them, going to split them here and now. Hatchell gets the 2-for-1 special off of turn 2, and Hatchell gets by gets by Stravado and Hayes in one corner. So move the 8 up to second, about 1.5 seconds behind the 17 of Adam Cabot. Hayes now trying to find a way back around. Stravado can't do it, and slipping and sliding around a little bit. But how about the move from Seth Hatchell? Jeff Wright going to get by Angelo Ronas here down the front stretch into turn 1. Wright going to move up to 5th on the racetrack. So a lot of movement here, and the guys that seem like went longer are starting to prevail as we get longer into this run.
Move by Seth Hatchell is the move that you expect from a 2-time BTDY champion.
Yes, he is putting his moves on a BTDY champion and a teammate, AJ Stravado, the champion, and teammate Brody Hayes. Is Hayes struggling there with the lap car of Nathan Ostrowski in the 41, and no, Nathan likes to run Stuart Haas paint schemes, and news out of Stuart Haas stable and real NASCAR as they will be shutting down at the end of this season. So a shame to see Tony Stewart go and leave the sport, but big development for silly season in 2025 for the Cup Series is Joshua Banks getting by Ray Massey for 8th on the race, or 9th, on the racetrack. But yeah, a lot of different moving parts is just completing the greatest weekend in motorsports, I guess. Kind of very weird races that went on. Indy 500, absolute banger, and 600 was good until the rain. So, yeah, good weekend in motorsports, wouldn't you say, Logan?
Absolutely, and being there for the Indy 500, man, I couldn't have asked for a better race. Although I wish it would have started on time. That put me home
Yeah.
very, very late Monday morning.
Yeah, it was a late day, but at least it was a holiday. And Joseph Newgarden going 2 in a row and a spectacular finish with Pato O'Ward and battling Scott Dixon as well. Great. What was an amazing Indianapolis 500. And going back to back is not something you see very often. And get to see history as great as, how about this? Seth Hatchell getting by Adam Cabot for the lead, Jeff Wright getting by Stravato for third, and the two guys that were leading coming into the pit cycle are looking to be leading halfway through the run, and now going to gap themselves even farther ahead from the field.
Alec, I'm looking for some close battles on the track right now, but everybody's.
I tell you what, as this race is getting spread out with obviously the difference of tires, but Nick Starling as well, man. Good pace out of the 18 car, having the night he needs if he wants to get into the chase. I mean, Dallas and Cody, they're running 26th and 27th. Starling running 12th. He's gaining 15 to 20 points on these guys that he needs to battle. I think Starling, unless barring getting in an incident here, I mean, he's looking very good. I know we're not even halfway in, but to get where he's at, has a really good chance of making the chase for the BTDY Cup.
This is crunch time.
It is, and there's Bailey Turner with a little bit fresher tires than both he and the 03 or the 18 and the 03, but Starling having the night he needs, and he needs that. And I know next week is the All-Star race, so you kind of get a time to reset before we get to the BTDY chase for the Cup. But remember, when we unload for the chase, it's a wild card race. It's Atlanta Motor Speedway, but Atlanta Super Speedway. And we know what the chaos could be there. Is how about Eric Hutton showing the pace that he had in that 88 car on the long runs, starting to move up through the field here, get by his teammate Angelo Ronis. Keith Mayato is kind of running both of these guys down, and I wish Eric. I think Eric has a really good car. I just don't understand the move of pitting early. I know he was kind of stuck behind Keith, but he's going to get past and probably get a little bit gapped by the 36, who has fresher tires than the 88. So as Cabot got passed by Wright, so Wright ups to second, Cabot back down there. I think overall Cabot will probably have a net gain before his next cycle of pit stops, which will be within the next 15 to 20 laps. So I think Cabot's probably going to be a gain out of this. Hayes is going to stay right where he is. Stravato might be a loss for him. I think Hutton's right where he was, and so was Mayato. Angelo Ronis kind of falling back a little bit. Curious to see on the end of this run where Banks maybe cycles out. Banks that last time, turning right, lap times right there with Jeff Wright and Eric Hutton. And Hutton, man, even with older tires, really good times. He's actually the fastest car on the racetrack that last time. So I just, man, if he would have had maybe more equal touch pit with Jeff Wright, I think we'd be talking about Eric Hutton with a chance to, battle for the lead. But and who knows, later in this race, we could get a caution. It's a long race. The track temp has only gone up. It's at almost 140 degrees. So this track is getting hotter and hotter and hotter as this race continues to go on.
Temperature now, what are we looking at
140.
here? Oh, man.
And we were talking about the practice at 98 degrees. Now we got the race going. It's 140. It is almost 42 degrees hotter than what it was in practice, and that is massive change. And how about Nick Starling going to get by Noah Mahalski for 12th on the racetrack? And move Starling up another spot and more points to the 18. And how about this good battle here? Kyle McGarvey, Caleb Weekly, Alan Dice, Chris Samar, Justin Carey, another one who's needing points here, needs positions, needs spots. Right now, 10 spots as Cody Atkins has put it behind the wall, and that might do it for his championship hopes as Atkins is out of the race.
Atkins out of the race. Dallas Sullivan still 2 laps down, obviously, with no cautions.
Either Starling or Carey a spot in the playoffs here.
That is not the race you want.
Unless they get in a wreck later in this race, those guys looking like to be battling. Remember the points. Nick Starling is still 2 points behind Justin Carey, so he needs to finish 3 spots preferably ahead of the 21 car. And there's Keith Mayato battling Brody Hayes. Eric Hutton has gotten by him. He's moved up to 5th on the racetrack, and Mayato looking to get 6th by the 37, and he will. And these guys starting to run down, I believe, the 17 and 33 of Cabot.
Otto looking to hunt down the back end of that 17 car at the moment, making a little bit of headway on it. But then he's got the long chase of Jeff Wright way ahead of him. Not going to be an easy one from that
right on
third place
tires
back.
As well. Yeah, I think Wright and Hatchell looks like to be the two guys that'll be probably duking it out here as we continue to go on into this race. 71 laps in, and Hutton trying to get by the lap car of Dennis Steele on the racetrack. Yes, Dennis Steele in the 28 Hooters car, as Mayato has caught up to the back bumper of the 88, and the 33 has caught up to the back bumper of the 17 car. So battle's going to get inside the top 5 here. Here comes Stravato underneath Adam Cabot here, and that'll be for third on the racetrack, as the top 2 have separated themselves by 3.5 seconds. Stravato sends it in to turn number 1, but Cabot going to utilize the outside lane, try to use the momentum here, and there goes Cabot fighting off. And we saw last week in New Hampshire how hard Cabot was to pass, and this time he's making it tough again on the 33 of Stravato, but this time I don't know if he's going to be able to hang with him in turn 3, as though utilizing the outside lane, gets into the gas. Can Stravato clear on the exit of 4? He does. Cabot has a run. Thinks better of it, won't race him.
Not a bad call. It's again still very, very early in this race. Just about closing in on lap 75 here soon.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, fastest car on the racetrack. The last lap is the 35 of Joshua Banks, who's in 8th. Freshest tires other than Bailey Turner in the field. And right now, Banks showing some pace. And Stravato, I mean, he's only, 2 seconds up the road. And Banks has good pace. I mean, he's a half a second faster than the cars ahead of him. And right here, he's got a chance here to get by Brody Hayes in the dog leg here as he's battling, getting by the lap car. Dennis Steele here as well. Almost contact between 37 and 28 as the 35 now closing to the back bumper of the 37. Steele going to let him have the exit here. And here comes Banks. Going to look to the inside of Hayes. And the 35 car starting to roll on some speed here. He's got good pace. And he's got fresher tires. And how about this? Keith Mayato getting by Eric Hutton for 5th here as Hayes trying to fight off the 35. Oh, Steele almost gets up into the wall there into 3. And Banks up to 7th, but up inside the top 5. Cabot losing touch with the 33, and now Mayato gets by the 88 into 1.
A little
and it
bit
seems
of
like the field's starting to accordion back together.
Depends on who you want to ask. Because if you ask these guys up here in 1 and 2, they're gone.
And Wright is slowly but surely chipping into Hatcher's lead. Cut it to almost a half a second, just under a half a second. And he's starting to reel the 8 car in. And how about Mayato getting another spot on Adam Cabot here for 4th on the racetrack? Really make some time up. The 36 is really starting to move, although Cabot not going to let him go here. Is Cabot now utilizing the outside lane, going way high, going to try to build a run on the exit of the corner here and try to hold off the 36 of Keith Mayato, and he looks like he will. And Cabot holds on to the position, but now he's going to be on the outside in turn 3 and 4, and that it seems like we're a little bit of struggle to utilize the outside. It seems like the top works in 1 and 2, but in 3 and 4 it just doesn't have as much momentum.
Otto still squeezes in there to get ahead of Cabot here. Claim
Cabot
another.
Don't let him go yet. Back to the outside is the 17, trying to make that outside lane work. He won't be able to get enough of a run. Mayato clears, but now Eric Hutton back to the inside of Cabot. Will Cabot have enough of a run to get back around the 36? He won't. And here comes Hutton back to the inside of Cabot. Cabot still on the outside lane, trying to get some grip up there. Oh, this time, big slide out of the 17, loose on the outside, and he'll lose another spot to Eric Hutton, and Joshua Banks now has closed into the battle.
Is what Joshua Banks wants to see right now is some of these guys racing side by side, using their tires up, and just chipping away at the time. You saw that gap close tremendously there for Joshua Banks.
The last time, a 33.7 for Joshua Banks, the leader of 33.9 Wright. a 33.8, almost a 9. And the 35 car has some really good speed. He might be able to get by all 4 of these guys and get himself up into 3rd here. I don't know if he'll get close to the leaders, but right now, noticing the leaders, Hatchell is stuck in dirty air. Doesn't really have any clean air to get to the nose, and that doesn't allow Jeff Wright to close up to him. And here comes Banks to the inside of Cabot here. This might be a tough pass for Banks here, as Cabot being able to be defensive on the outside lane. Here comes Cabot back down on the inside, trying to pinch the 35 as Cabot goes up the racetrack. Banks able to get back into the throttle quicker, and Banks takes the spot. Battle for the lead for the first time tonight under the green flag condition. Jeff Wright to the inside of Seth Hatchell, and Wright in quest for his 2nd regular season championship in his career. And I'll tell you what, the field does not want to give this guy any more points going into the chase.
Absolutely not, and definitely not if you're Bailey Turner sitting back there in 10th place. Can't quite seem to make his way up through the field just yet, but maybe he's got something in store for us later.
Maybe he does, and we'll see, as he does have the fresh tires in the field. Doesn't seem to have a chance to run. Ooh, big moment there from Jeff Wright, sliding the tires. As Adam Cabot into pit road. So thus begins the pit cycle once again. Will anybody be willing to, who's going to stay out longer? Who's going to maybe stay out a little bit longer? That short pitted the last run. But Cabot now the first car to bring it in on lap 81 of 200, and still 120 laps to go, which now I would say would be a normal length race for BTDY, but still struggling here, or still struggling for pace here is the 33, who's lost a spot to Keith Mayato. It seems like AJ Travato and Keith Mayato love to be by each other and give us a tongue twister every time, as Brody Hayes into pit road. He'll come down and get service to his car.
It's every single week. Those two just can't get away from each other.
They really can't. And right now he's running to 3rd, Stravato 4th, Hutton in 5th, and here comes Joshua Banks in the 35, who's moved up to 6th. He's starting to close up on these guys. And look at this, Jeff Wright to the inside of Seth Hatchell for the lead. Can he get it? Hatchell fighting on the outside here. Jeff Wright going to clear into 1. Hatchell dives it into turn 1 on the outside. Can he get back around the 40? He's going to have the outside lane with momentum. Jeff Wright going to get loose on the bottom. Slides around, and Hatchell backed up to the outside. But now Hatchell going to be on the outside in turns 3 and 4. Doesn't seem to be the line that's preferred in that part of the racetrack. 1 and 2, it seems to be better than the outside when it comes, or the inside when it comes to either getting a spot or defending a spot. Is Hatchell still trying to find a way to keep ahead of the 48 before pit stops, which might be anywhere from the next 10 laps, as the lap cars ahead of him. Nick Gardner, Timmy Emanuele fighting to stay on the lead lap here. They're not going to get layover for these guys, as Hatchell utilizing the outside lane and gets by right once again. Stravato has brought it down to pit lane as well.
If Hatchell could get around these lap cars here, it's
I think he could maybe start pulling away.
Advantage. Yeah, he's been so good in the clean air, but stuck in this dirty air right now, it's not doing him any favors at all.
And Gardner's doing a good job keeping Hatchell behind him. And that time, you can see Hatchell had to get out of the gas there, or stay out of the gas a little bit longer than he wanted to, being behind the 16 of Gardner and the 39 of Emanuele. Ooh, big moment there for Gardner. Hatchell's going to try to find a way to the outside, see if he can get around him. Jeff Wright might have to use the 16 as a pick here, as Hatchell looking to the outside to get around him. Just can't find a way, as Banks gets by Hutton into 3. As right now, just Hatchell trying to find every way around the 16. Right now, reminding me of the Coke 600, where I believe the leader was stuck in lap traffic for a while, and I think it was Ty Gibbs stuck behind the lap traffic of, it was like Stenhouse, Allgaier, and now it just seems like Hatchell can't find a way around them, stuck in the dirty air.
That's not looking great for him at the moment, but eventually.
Right back down to the inside of Hatchell here. Hatchell slips up a little bit here, but utilizing that middle line, gonna get some momentum here off of 4. Into turn number 1 again, as the track temp has reached to 141 degrees. That is, I think 42 degrees hotter than what it was in practice. Hatchell had to get out of the gas there. Now Wright with the run here. Hatchell dives it into 3. He's going to slide up a little bit. So is Wright. And right behind, or in front of these guys, is the lap cars of Nick Gardner and Timmy Emanuele. Here comes Adam Cabot on fresher tires. He's going to play a role in this battle. Here is Hatchell, might have the preferred line. Wright sends it into the corner, but the lap car, Nick Gardner, going to get in effect the 48. Here comes Cabot now, trying to get his lap back on fresher tires. He takes them 3 wide down the backstretch. Gardner has a moment in front of the leaders. Now the leaders gonna split them. There's contact between Hatchell and Wright and Gardner. Now the lap car in the way. They bar bang between the 48 and the 16. They get by him. Gardner falls a lap down, but the lap car, Gardner gonna get lapped, and Hatchell gonna clear for the lead. Now Wright gonna go vice versa to the last lap. Wright goes to the outside, gonna use some momentum. Hatchell might be a sitting duck down the backstretch. A big run from the 48. Where does Wright go? He looks low. Hatchell goes to cover. Now Wright goes high. Hatchell goes middle. Gardner on the bottom in the lap machine trying to get around both of them. Wright loses a little bit of grip there. Gets loose. Fishtails off the corner. And Hatchell holds on to the lead, and Wright still behind him. Now, if you're Seth Hatchell, do you want to overcut Jeff Wright? But it seems like the undercut that last time seemed to work better, and he's been able to hold off the 48. Here comes Stravato and Brody Hayes on fresher tires. And Wright slowly losing touch with the 8 car here. There's Timmy Emanuele, another lap car. Might affect the 8 car here on the exit of turn 4. Dennis Faircloth has brought it to pit lane. And Emanuele checks up the 8. Here comes the 48 with the run. Hatchell going to utilize the bottom. Now Wright going to follow into his tire tracks. Loses the nose in the dirty air. And Emanuele and Gardner fall a lap down. That'll be the battle for the lucky dog as this race continues, as we are closing up on halfway through this race. Eric Hutton into pit road. Caleb Weekly, Noah Mahalski into pit road. Or actually, Weekly stays out, excuse me, is stalling up to 5th. Turner in 5th, or stalling up to 6th. Turner in 5th. In this battle for the lead, still continuing on as Joshua Banks has ran down Keith Maiato, and these two are running down the leaders a little bit. They've cut a second off of the leaders while these two have been battling between Wright and Hatchell.
But that's one thing I've been trying to keep my eye on, is how close these guys behind them are getting while our leaders are, battling with lap traffic. That was incredible. The interference that lap traffic was causing was...
Yeah, and remember, the lap cars have every right to race, and they're trying to fight for their race and, hope to catch a caution and catch back up, as we have went 92 laps, green and free and no caution free. And the leaders still, 34 threes, Maiato and Banks, 34 ones, 0.2 a second each lap. There's Faircloth getting by him. Gardner got by Emanuele, and look at Massey on fresh tires as well. This right here could be shaping up to be a caution here with the way these guys are battling. Here comes Jeff Wright, I think. No, he looked like he's coming to pit road. Just the corner speeds are so different. Here comes Faircloth with the run. And these lap cars, I think, are just throwing out the leaders just a little bit.
It gotta be. To be your leader of however many laps at this point, Seth Hatchell has led at least 80 plus. It's gotta be pretty nerve-wracking whenever you've got these cars that are flying by you about 20-mile-an-hour faster.
I think Hatchell and Wright are very soon from pitting. Maybe like this lap or next lap, or maybe even a lap after that. I don't see them going more than that, because I think their expectancy on fuel is about to run out. Here's the Maiato and Banks have cut about a second. And that last time, identical lap times. Seth Hatchell and Jeff Wright, 4:24, both of them turning that lap. Maiato a 34.2, Banks a 34.3. So this will be interesting to see as Maiato now getting some lap traffic working around him. As at the front, we might see the 8 and 48 bring it to pit lane. No, they stay out another lap. 47 and 46 laps on the tires and fuel tanks. And I got to think the fuel tanks are running a little bit low here, and maybe the tire life running a little low. And tell you what, man, this lap traffic that Keith Maiato is in is maybe affecting his lap time. Angelo Ronis on fresher tires. Max Koss fresher tires. Hutton on fresher tires, getting by Banks. These guys now starting to get a little bit of pressure. Nick Starling into pit lane.
Whole lot of cars right here on screen.
A big gaggle of race cars here. Oh, big moment there from Emanuele. And here comes the leaders into pit road. Hatchell and Wright both trying to force each other in. Oh, they both almost spin. Jeff Wright almost spins into pit road. They both save it, and now it's up to the pit crews. I don't know how both of them, I don't know if they spin or not, but they both sent it into pit road. Both of them almost spinning.
See if we can get a quick replay of that, Alec. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. As into the pit boxes they are. Wright makes it in first now. Up to the pit crews here to get them out. As you can see into pit road. Watch them both set it in knowing these are important. Both of them slip inside. Jeff Wright almost spins into pit road, and none of them, I don't think, got speeding penalties. As out of pit road they go. Hatchell, the 8 team, gets the 40 or beats the 48 out of pit road, and Hatchell going to keep the lead here now with even tires. As Keith Mayato now into pit road. Who's going to get a better pit road exit? Wright seems to be gaining time. And Hatchell out of pit road, and now some clean track ahead, although the lap car Caleb Weekly, who just pitted with them. Going to be interesting to see as Adam Cabot is going to take the lead, but he has 17 lap older tires. AJ Stravato 14 lap older tires. Hayes 16 lap older tires. Those guys are almost a half a track ahead of the leaders. But the leaders on fresher tires should have no issue, although this is going to be an interesting part is these guys dissecting lap traffic.
That's going to be
Joshua
real
Banks and
interesting.
Bailey Turner still on the racetrack.
You saw there, Seth Hatchell, Jeff Wright just carving up
this is
the
gonna
lap
get interesting.
traffic.
Look at this. Weekly and Gardner going to get in the way of the leaders here. What will be the leaders? Hatchell going to have to work around now. Wright with a chance to get into the inside here. And here he comes. Now we're going to really see these two on Eagle tires battle each other. Now the question is, how hard do they push these tires on this run? As just now, as Bailey Turner will clip the start-finish line this next time, will just eclipse halfway and 150 miles down in this race. As Hatchell and Wright still going at it. As Hatchell now 3 car lengths clear of the 48.
Good distance right now, but he does need to add on to that. But these two, I feel like it's just going to be like Mayato and Stravato. They're just not going to get away from each other today.
No, and there goes Banks out of pit road, who just brought it in. Turner and Justin Carey, the last 2 cars to have yet pit, as Carey is coming into pit lane. Bailey Turner is coming out of turn 2 and has yet to come in. 50 laps on the tires of the 24 car. And it makes you wonder, he's only got 1 more pit stop to go, where some guys might have 2 more pit stops.
We know that we've kept an eye on Bailey for whenever he's clutching in and saving fuel, so it'll be interesting.
50 laps, and that'll hand the lead over to Adam Cabot, and who is being pursued by AJ Stravato in the 33 car. It's Chris Samar trying to get his lap back. And what an interesting race we've been seeing all day. I mean, these guys searching around for grip, but also trying to fight lap cars, trying to stay ahead of each other. That's been something great. How about this? Jeff Wright going to get by Seth Hatchell into 1, possibly.
He does get clear of him, it looks like.
Interesting there as Hatchell loses the spot to Wright, but Hatchell with the run on the 48. Where does he go? Does he take the run? And it looks like he won't, and Hatchell loses the spot to Wright. Although Hatchell going to use that outside line. Going to get tight on the exit there. He's got to get out of the gas. If these guys start dealing with traffic, maybe that's the next time Hatchell can start putting pressure on the 48 to get back around. That's a big development in terms of the, I guess what you want to call the primary strategy with the 2 leaders.
Again, the strategy here is just, it's all over the place. It's so hard to keep track of. Nobody's really following anybody else's strategy at the moment, it seems.
Tell you what, Keith Mayato running in 3rd on that pit cycle had a bad execution of pit road, a 47.4 second in total pit in and out, where Banks, who pitted a couple laps later, had a 38.0, but Banks actually got by and Mayato actually fell back. So unfortunate for him, but the 36 going to lose a lot of time.
Curious as to what happened there. Must have been maybe a little bit too far through the box because it's not quite enough time for
Yeah.
any sort of penalty to be served.
Stravato got by Cabot, so Stravato leads his first laps of the race, and Hutton lost a spot to Wright and might lose another spot to Hatchell here, which he probably will with ease. And now the 48 and 8 working themselves back up through the field, still 6 seconds behind the leaders, but right now they're lapping about a second faster, so they should be there in the next 4 or 5 laps.
Impressive to look at here. Seth Hatchell, the only driver to have a 36-second pit stop that cycle through. Dallas Sullivan, though, 34.1. He might have taken a little less fuel.
I would think so. By those standards, I would have to say. As Banks, who does have the freshest tires in the top 10, curious to see where his strategy is going to get him at the end of this run. He was running down the leaders that last time, but that time they were battling. This time, not battling as much, although they're still close to each other, but we'll see where he gets through as he's about a half a track behind them, but 4-lap fresher tires.
And closest battle right now, Angelo Ronas and Ray Massey here. Separated by about 1/10 of a second. Everybody else about 3/10 or so or better. Justin Carey back there coming up on the back end of Max Cost. Looks like he'll be able to make a pass soon.
Carey's going to get Cost, and Weekly 2 laps down, is falling back a little bit. Sullivan 3 laps down, and 9 points for separating Carey, Atkins, and Sullivan. Atkins out of the race, and currently Carey is about 10 spots ahead of Atkins, so would get that playoff spot by 1 point. But then you got to factor Nick Starling, who is 2 points behind, is actually ahead of Justin Carey at points. So Starling is currently in, but then the battle becomes Carey and Sullivan, who are barely. I mean, Sullivan's staying 3 laps now. He might have a chance that there's a wreck, or maybe he'll get by Caleb Weekly later in this race if he makes another mistake. But it's going to be very close for Carey. If Carey can get another 2 or 3 spots, he might have a chance. I think we're talking. I think we're going to want to keep an eye on this battle here. As we have gotten past halfway, and there is 91 laps to go, about to be 90 laps to go, as we are still caution free for the Charlotte Motor Speedway as the pit cycle is going through here. But we go to a quick commercial break and go side by side and hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back here to cover the action in the BTDY Marathon 300.
Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the Nurturing Reader at New Jersey street fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.
welcome back to the BTDY Marathon 300 from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 114 down and a whole lot more to go. More than 80 laps left in this race, is 85 soon to be laps to go. AJ Stravado, the leader, over Jeff Wright, Seth Hatchell, Adam Cabot, and Eric Hutton, who's in a battle with Brody Hayes for 5th. But these two seem to be the class of the field, the 8 and 48, and well, pit cycle happened. 48 falls behind the 8, but gets by the 8 during the green flag run, and now the 8 on the in a different position than last time, behind the 48 instead of ahead of the 48, like he was at the beginning of the pit, or the beginning of pit stops.
Yeah, it got pretty interesting there. A couple moments where things got a little hairy while we were away to commercials there. Hopefully everything caught that for you to keep up with it. But Jeff Wright still running ahead of Seth Hatchell, but both of them right now chasing down AJ Stravado. Only a mere matter of laps before we'll see Jeff Wright, Seth Hatchell inevitably back in the lead.
And we're only a mere handful of laps before seeing Adam Cabot, AJ Stravado, and maybe even Brody Hayes. Brody Hayes and Ray Massey bringing it back down to pit lane. And remember them, they're going to have 2 stops where Wright, I believe, is only going to have one more. I don't know. You might have one more stop. I'm not really sure how their pit cycle is going to work. I know Bailey Turner, he only has one more stop left to go.
Bailey Turner's done a great job of splitting this perfectly. It's been, I think, 49 laps on his first run and 51 on the second run, I believe, or maybe it was a perfect 50-50.
And looking at the lap times and everything at the end, I think we're going to see where we might have to see Wright and Hatchell either pit again or save fuel and a heavy save, because they're going to be a couple laps short as there goes Wright for the lead. I think Bailey Turner, we talk about his strategy here in this kind of a race, Bailey Turner might be in the catbird seat once we get to the end of the race if we go caution free. But then you got to remember, there's going to be guys on different. There's going to be, I think, 3 or 4 different strategies that we're going to have to keep an eye on through this race.
That's 3 or 4. I was thinking 7 or 8.
It's possible too.
Just,
I don't know.
There's so much going on out there right now. It's so hard to keep up with between everybody, and again, it's not like anybody's really following anybody else's pit strategy except maybe within a lap or so.
Hatchell or Wright, I think, would be the only 2 you could even say are following each other when it comes to strategies. Here comes Faircloth on the outside of Wright, and Wright going to put him a lap down, leaving 16 cars on the lead lap, and a little bit of ways from Faircloth to Nick Gardner, who is on 10-lap pressure tires, but is going to take a while for him to get up to him. The last car on the lead lap is Justin Carey, and Carey, I would got to think, he's going to need to stay on that lead lap, although right now he's running down Kyle McGarvey and Chris Samard. And Carey, another one on the same strategy as Bailey Turner. He only has one more stop left to go as well.
He could easily make it to the end of the race, especially, with the way that we've been seeing Bailey clutching in the corners whenever he doesn't really have a whole lot of going on around him. I mean, Ray Massey right now about a quarter of a second behind him, but he's got double the age on the tires versus Bailey Turner right now. 36 laps on Ray Massey's last pit stop, Bailey Turner 18, so won't be much of a competition, and Bailey can pretty much just go full save.
And I got to ask you, Logan, what is the hottest you've ever seen at a track on iRacing?
It was not this. This would have to be the hottest I've ever seen.
I'm looking at a lap track, 144 degrees is scorching. Tires are melting for sure. I mean, that is a whole lot of tire wear going to be put on these Goodyear Racing Eagles, and as well, I mean, that's a whole lot of heat in the track. As we've got guys running down pit road, as here comes Hayes and Cabot. These guys will be interesting as this race goes on, because they still have another pit stop to go. Where will they cycle out? And I mean, this race is going to get even crazier as only, 80 laps to go, and there are 78 laps to go in this race. There's still a lot of strategy to be had.
And again, just like any other race, all it takes is one caution. We're so mixed up right now between lap cars and lead lap cars. Just throughout the entire field, anything could happen at any moment. With all these different tire strategies, I want to knock on wood when I say this, but it's very likely to see a caution. I know, would you say it was the last 2 Charlotte races here with BTDY went completely caution free?
Yeah, for sure. One of them. I think the last one that had happened, there was a wreck on the the start of the race. But other than that, there was never another wreck. That was been the one race I can remember that might have, and then I think from there went caution free. But after that, I know a couple of years ago, one did go caution free, and Bailey Turner was able to win that on a strategy similar to what he's doing right now. So we'll have to see how things shake out. And again, like you said, one caution can flip this race on its head, and we got a totally different race.
Be very interesting to see how this goes for everybody, and you know, it could make for a very, very interesting finish, at least within the top 10, because we only have 13 cars on the lead lap at the moment.
Mahalski, interesting strategy. He's only 33 laps on his tires. He's brought it into pit road, going completely off sequence to what his strategy was. AJ Stravado into pit road. That'll be interesting to monitor as well. Cabin and Hayes are out on the racetrack on fresh tires right now, turning about 3 seconds a lap faster. And as this track gets hotter, another thing to point out, the tire fall off gets worse and worse and worse. The last run, they were turning, at least on lap, what was it, 46 of the run, they were turning around 34. Oh, wow, look at this. It's going to get tight between Hayes and Banks and Hutton. But at the end of the run, they were turning 33.8s, 33.7s at the end of the run. Right now, they're only 30 laps into the run, and they're turning 34.0s. So they're 0.3 of a second slower on 10-lap fresher tires. So we might see, 34.3s, 34.2s at the end of the run. So maybe the guys that are pitting now are going to get ahead of that curve on the fall-off.
Yeah, it would make sense too. And, thinking about these guys up here in the front that have only pit twice so far, they've got extra tires to play with. So we might see them start running a little bit harder after this next pit cycle.
Well, I think we'll see. There's a possibility they run hard because they know they have to pit again, or that they start going hardcore save mode and try to save fuel, because I think it's going to be very tight on fuel. I mean, they pit on 148, 149 at highest. I mean, they're cutting it close. I mean, very close. I don't think we've seen guys go more than 50 laps other than Bailey Turner on fuel. So it's going to be tight when it comes to fuel saving as well. As Angelo Ronis in the pit road. Man, a lot of strategy. And there's going to be a realization moment. If the guys start realizing they can't make it on fuel, there's going to be a realization moment of, oh, we can't make it. Now what do we do? Because it's going to throw off their entire strategy.
It's a complete coin flip right now. This is nothing that I've ever really witnessed, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's making for a great race.
That's what we love about watching these BTDY and the strategies that take place in the race. It's always good to see. I think Banks has worked himself up into third, so that's good for him. And how about Bailey Turner up to fourth on that strategy, and fastest car on the racetrack the last time by, but Bailey, a lot of speed out of the 24 car, and 3 seconds behind Banks, who's running third and would have cycled to third no matter what on the pit cycle. Turner's got a good speed, and I think he's got enough to make it on fuel. I think Bailey Turner might be the guy that could win this race.
You very well could. And, I mean, he's the points leader for a reason, so it only makes sense.
When we talked about it from the beginning of the race, we knew he was saving fuel from the start of the race. So I just interested to see, and Jeff Wright getting caught up behind some lap traffic here with Brody Hayes and AJ Stravado. They're actually just unlapping themselves with fresher tires, and Jeff saying, man, I'd love to come and pit for those fresh tires and get all that grip, because look at how much faster they are than the 40. And last time by, they were 2 seconds faster than Jeff Wright and 2.5 seconds faster than Hatchell, who's starting to hit a little bit of a cliff, and Wright has opened up to a second lead.
I almost wonder if Hatchell's now kind of taking on a saving strategy as well. It's just so hard to say. With this track being as hot as it is, it's unpredictable what anybody's really doing.
It is, and there's still a long way to go in this race. I don't hear Hatchell really saving any fuel, so it's interesting to see. Struggling on pace here. He's kind of trading. Oh, look at Jeff Wright in the pit road. interesting, and that I think is going to show that they cannot make it on fuel to the end of this race. So now their strategy is going to get thrown sideways because they still have to make another pit stop.
This is a very strange call. I don't know. It
could be a make or break call for Jeff Wright as he slides into his box a little awkwardly, and now he's going to get service to the 48 car. But now you got to think about it. Adam Cabot and AJ Stravado are going to blow by him, and they're going to have a massive lead over the 48. The fresh tires are obviously going to work as now Jeff exits pit road, but Cabot is going to be, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds ahead. Wow, I mean, interesting. Now we're seeing the strategy, and like I said, there's a realization moment of, oh, I can't make it on fuel. Now you're just throwing your strategy off. What are you going to be able to do? When does right now think about coming back into pit lane? As Hatchell stays on the racetrack, I don't think Hatchell's going to bring it in anytime soon. Now Jeff Wright gonna have to get around traffic here, and it's struggling a little bit. But Wright currently, I mean, gonna be interesting to see because Cabot is 20 seconds behind the leader. Wright is still he's not still a lap down, so we'll be able to see in a second. But I think he's 15 seconds behind Adam Cabot. He will have fresher tires, obviously, but remember when they were running him down, he had 15, 20 lap fresher tires. This time, he's only got, 8 laps on Stravado, 12 laps on Cabot. That's half of the run and half of the distance on tires. This last time, he's sitting 13 seconds behind Cabot. If he turns a second a lap faster, what's that, 13 spots? Look at that, Seth Hatchell into pit road. Turner and Banks stay out, and Banks is one that's interesting because maybe he can make it on one more stop. I think Turner's for sure able to make it on one more stop, but Banks is going to be interesting to see what he does. And like you said, I think you're right about the 6 and 7 different strategies. I think we're going to see a ton of different strategies at the end of this race. 65 laps to go, and now Hatchell's going to fall behind Wright, who's blowing by him, and Hatchell's going to lose even more spots to Cabot and Stravado, Hayes, Samard, who's still yet to pit, Massey as well. So interesting to see here. Still a 10-second gap between Wright and Cabot. And that last time, Wright and Cabot, not even, but only a second difference. It's not too much.
Well, he caught that there, Alec, but no, Mahalski very, very close to that back bumper. The 80, Dennis Faircloth had to check up.
And for those guys, they cannot afford a caution coming out. Because caution comes out, they're down a set of tires, and everybody else can come in and get fresh tires. These guys might have to stay out on older tires. Wow, this is wild to watch the movement of this field. Bailey Turner is running down Banks 0.4 of a second faster the last couple of laps. It makes you wonder, is Banks maybe on a fuel safe mode? Can he go another 13 laps? If he can, I think he's going to be able to make it on fuel here on one more stop. Everybody else going to have to make one more pit stop. Yes, Banks saving fuel. Bailey Turner saving fuel. These two, I think, are going to be able to make it on one more stop. But as the race goes on, will they be able to stay ahead of Cabot and Stravado and Wright? Right now, 1.5 seconds faster than Cabot, so it'll be interesting to see where he will cycle out on the run. I think Cabot's probably got another 13, 14 laps, or 13 to 20 laps to go on his run. Stravado probably in the same boat.
Stravado's got about a 4-lap advantage on Cabot, so I wouldn't expect him to see him at the same time.
60 laps to go when Joshua Banks crosses the start-finish line. We're going to have a battle for third on the racetrack, between AJ Stravado and Adam Cabot. Stravado 4-lap fresher tires in the 17 of Cabot. And this time Stravado's going to look low. He'll get to the inside of Cabot. Cabot goes wide a little bit. Stravado going to get into the gas sooner than the 17. The 17 going to have a run on the exit. Not going to be enough, and Adam Cabot is going to lose that spot to AJ Stravado, and Jeff Wright is going to try to find a way around Brody Hayes. Oh, interesting to see as there goes right by Hayes. And once this thing cycles out, once Banks and Turner pit, that'll hand the lead over to Stravato or maybe Wright, who is flying on fresher tires. But remember, everybody still has to make another pit stop, as well as Turner and Banks. But once they pit, they don't have to make another one. Everybody else will still have to make one more. Tell you what, Logan, this race is kind of flipped on its head with strategy.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words, Alec. Honestly, it's I know I've said it time and time again, but it's just all over the place.
Really is. I mean, this strategy has been all over, and shows you what no stages can do to a race, and it shows you the difference of strategies that can play out in a race like this. Is so far Banks still the leader, then Turner second, and then the first one who is on the alternate strategy is Stravato, who's now going to be battling Jeff Wright here pretty soon.
But we know just with the previous weeks how hard it is to pass Adam Cabot, and there's not
the tire
a
difference
huge...
might be the thing in favor of Wright here. We should be able to get by with ease.
You would think so, but in Cabot, he has a really good habit of being able to make that car as wide as the track wherever he's at. But as you can see there, Jeff Wright able to hold that bottom line real close to that white line, but just kind of riding that middle line at the time being.
And 11 lap fresher tires for the 48 over the 17 is this time Wright going to get to the inside of Cabot, and I think it'll be no issue for the 48 as there goes Jeff Wright to the lead for the quest for the regular season championship. But Bailey Turner is ahead of him. If a caution comes out, Turner's still the points leader. Gives him a chance here. Nick Starling looks like has a decent enough gap over, although that gap is dwindling because Max Cost and Alan Dice have retired from the race. So Sullivan is up to 22nd, and he's not too many points, or he's actually still barely in the chase over Starling. Starling needs to find another 4 positions. Carey only needs to find 8, and right now Carey would be in over Starling and Sullivan. Sullivan, I think, is going to be on the cut line here it's close between Carey and Starling. I think Dallas, if he keeps getting these spots, he's going to give himself a pretty good chance of winning this or getting into the chase, barely, but he's going to get himself at least a hope to get in, because it looks like Michael Newman's retiring the car. Weekly is a lap behind, 2 laps behind him, so I don't know. And Dennis Steele is on the same lap as Sullivan. Sullivan can still get another spot here. Samard into pit lane.
I think for Starling, it's really going to come down to this last pit rotation. Because as he sits right now, he is a lap down, but he's on fresh tires where just about
His first car lap
everybody...
down as well.
Yeah,
And look
just
at
about
this.
everybody ahead of him is...
Jeff Wright, AJ Stravato. This will be interesting for later in this race. Stravato on the inside as well as Wright. Wright trying to loosen the 33 up. Jeff going to look down to the inside. Here comes the 48 on the 33. Wright and Stravato. And with that, even that abrupt pit call, Jeff Wright will cycle himself back around to the lead once the cycle comes through. But remember, these guys all have to pit once more. Bailey Turner, Joshua Banks will pit as well, but they will have no more pit stops, where the 48 on down will have 1 more to go. And the question for Banks is, can he go another 3 more laps? Man, this race is going to be very interesting when we get to the end of it, because everybody's got 1 more pit stop. Obviously, a caution would change things. Hatchell is only worked up to 6th. He probably cycle up to 7th or 2nd when the run is over, as he's got fresher tires than Wright, 3 lap fresher than the 48 right now, but he's running down about a 1.5 seconds behind Cabot, as there goes Wright by the 16 of Nick Gardner on the racetrack. And the question then remains, can Wright go another 2 more laps? Or 1 more lap, I should say. 2 more technically, and I think Turner is good to make it to the end on fuel. Banks is the next car in question. Remember, even if Jeff Wright wins, if Turner finishes behind him, Turner still wins the regular season championship.
They need, oh gosh, what would be about a four-car gap between them for Jeff Wright to take the lead?
And I don't think Jeff Wright is going to lead the most laps tonight.
Oh, I think Seth Hatchell has that one locked in.
Lead. Yeah, especially with a lot more guys leading the race because of the strategies. That actually, I think, is going to put Jeff Wright at a disadvantage because he's been, I guess, technically the leader, but he just hasn't led the laps.
Look here, Seth Hatchell. 83 laps.
Or 83 laps. So, yeah, I mean, at Jeff Wright, I think, what has he led? 40?
15.
50. Oh, 15. Well, he's led way less laps than I thought. Yeah, so, yeah, Jeff, I think Hatchell's going to lock that extra bonus point up. Here comes Banks at a pit road. I think that's going to confirm that the 35 car can make it to the end on fuel.
You're
we know
absolutely
Turner
right about
is
that.
good. We know Turner is good to the end.
Cycles Seth Hatchell back up into 4th place. Quickly see Bailey Turner hold it out a couple more laps here.
I think he's going to bring it in this time. Oh, no, he's not. He's going to stay out one more lap. So Turner's going to get a lap lead. That's going to be interesting. No bonus point for it, but he gets a lap lead. He stays out. And how about Justin Carey, Nick Gardner still on the racetrack? Carey just brought it into pit lane, so he's going to probably be able to get it to the end. So no more stops for him. There's Banks exiting pit road, and I believe that's going to give Joshua Banks a chance to probably unlap himself from Jeff Wright. He'll have 20 lap fresher tires. And this time, Turner stays out one more lap to take one more lap led away from Jeff Wright, who would basically, I don't think he can lead in more to get enough to get by Seth Hatchell on laps led. So right now, we'll take the lead. Turner will lose the lead, fall back to second. Here comes Banks on the same strategy as Turner. Going to get around the 24 and might get a chance to get around the 48 here. Still going to have to save a little bit. But remember, no more pit stops for the 35. And once the 24 brings it in, no more pit stops. Everybody else has one more to go. Turner going to stay out another lap. I think Bailey's got to... Oh, no, there you go. Bailey's bringing it in. Cannot make a mistake here. Into pit road. Slides it hard on the brakes. Does he make it to pit road?
No, he looks slow enough, but it's going to be close. That's going to be make or break for Bailey Turner there.
This could be his, if that was a speeding penalty, that would be his regular season championship hopes dashed in a crucial mistake. We'll see as the pit stop goes. Banks now going to be the leader on that strategy. Turner, looks like the left sides are going up. Jack drops, no penalty for Bailey Turner, so he's still in this. No penalty for Turner. Wright going to lap him. Stravato still stays on the racetrack, who hasn't lost too much touch to Jeff Wright, who's only a half a second back. And remember, Stravato is going to pit before, so he's going to gain a little bit of an advantage over Wright. Hatchell got by Cabot and Hayes a little bit ago, but still struggling with pace here. He's only 10th faster than Wright here with 3 lap fresher tires here.
Very interested in seeing when Hatchell and Wright bring this car down pit road.
I think you're going to see Cabot probably bring it down very soon. Same with Hayes. I think we'll see those two pit first. Their pit stops are probably going to be coming in another 10 laps at most. But now for these guys, they might have to run super long, and I don't know if they want to do that in terms of this. And oh no, Justin Carey speeding on pit road. All the guys on the playoff bubble making crucial mistakes, and that's going to allow Dallas Sullivan with a chance to get in, and now Nick Starling has the chance to get into the playoffs.
Nick's already put himself in a great position, sitting in 12th right now, too.
And Starling's going to jump Carey in that situation, but Starling has to finish 10 spots ahead of Sullivan to get in, and actually he has to finish 2 spots ahead of Carey because Cody Atkins, unless a mistake from Starling, Cody Atkins is eliminated. I think Dallas Sullivan now, who we thought were maybe counting him out too soon, is now looking at least to be in the playoffs barely. And this race still trying to play out and seeing where it goes. Bailey Turner's going to unlap himself from Jeff Wright. And like we said, when is Jeff Wright going to bring it to pit lane? Wright stays out, and remember, for everybody watching, Bailey Turner and Joshua Banks do not have to pit again. The rest of the field will have to pit. Something to keep an eye out. Logan, I got to ask you, do you think Banks and Turner can hold off everybody when they're going to be on new tires? All on different strategies as well.
You know, it's hard to say, but we've seen them. I noticed sometime after one of the last 2 pit rotations, they had a 10-second lead. So it's so hard to say.
It's going to be close. I know Banks is going to be in a really tight spot to make it on fuel. Turner's going to probably be fine to make it to the end. Banks is going to be the Spartan Banks looking for his first win of the season. Joshua Banks locked in to the playoffs, looking for that win, looking for some extra bonus points. As how about Adam Cabot and I believe Brody Hayes battling for a position on the racetrack? That's 4th, and they got fresher tires coming up behind them with Eric Hutton, Chris Amard. Look at Cabot utilizing the outside lane to cross over Brody Hayes here, and Chris Amard and Eric Hutton running these guys down a little bit. As big moment out of Cabot here, and I wonder if he's gonna bring it into pit road. He is. Oh, he's sliding into pit road. Gets it spinning sideways. I don't think he made it.
Yeah, that's got to be a speeding penalty. He had him locked up so far beyond those cones. That's...
That one I cannot say he made it. That one's going to be very tough to see if he made it or not. We'll see as the tires will get jacked up here, and the 17 car gets service to it in the Atlas 17 crew. As the left sides get jacked up, we'll see if Cabot's off and away.
Brody Hayes now coming down pit road as well.
I cannot believe it. Adam Cabot didn't get a speeding penalty. He slowed it down enough, I guess, while sliding. So Cabot stays ahead and back on the racetrack with fresher tires than Turner and Wright. Brody Hayes is into pit road. Ray Massey into pit road. And Jeff Wright stays on the racetrack. AJ Stravato, when does he want to bring it in?
Well, for Jeff Wright and Seth Hatchell, I'm almost thinking somewhere around that 170. Lap 170 is probably their ideal spot.
That's what it's looking like, I think, at the moment. I got to think, I mean, we'll see him come in soon. Banks has 12 laps on his tires. Turner with 10 laps on his tire. Or, yeah, about to get 10 laps. Here goes Jeff Wright into pit road. Jeff Wright into pit road. This will be interesting to see what happens when he comes in. Barely going to get to his stall. He's going to lose a spot to... Oh, no, he doesn't lose a spot. He'll lose a spot to Banks and Turner, as right now barely into his pit stall. Getting service to his Lowe's 48 machine and at the track that used to be called Lowe's Motor Speedway. As Wright exits pit road and now will leave his stall, and he's got a long ways to go to catch Bailey Turner and Joshua Banks, who have 10 and 13 lap fresher tires than the 48 car. Eric Hutton, AJ Stravato, Seth Hatchell, Keith Mayato, Angelo Ronis yet to pit. Will be making their final pit stop soon. Nick Starling, another one of those. Eric Hutton, I believe, is going to bring it into pit lane. And he will. AJ Stravato into pit lane. Seth Hatchell into pit lane. And now it is a 35-lap sprint to the end.
Ronas now bringing it into pit lane as well. He's locks him up just a tad, but he is good to go.
Mayato stays out here, and now that will hand the lead over soon. Once Mayato pits, Joshua Banks. And Banksy is going to be with a reasonable cushion of 17 seconds over Jeff Wright.
As we've discussed, Banks and Turner are the two that we believe most can make it to the end of this race on their current stint. It's going to come down to the
caution
wire.
changes everything. A caution can change the complexion of this race here. We know what can happen. We've been caution-free all 175 miles so far left in this race. Or well, I guess there's a little bit less than 75 miles here. But, man, this race has been absolutely insane. Look at Ray Massey splitting Eric Hutton and Dennis Steele. Keith Mayata, when does he want to pit? He might try to go long here, hope for a caution, or even try to be on the attack here. When does he want to bring it to pit lane? Because he will have fresher tires than everybody in the field. The only issue for Banks and Turner is that they're going to have to deal with guys blowing by them on fresher tires. And remember here as well, for Bailey Turner, as long as Jeff Wright doesn't win and he finishes third, if Turner can get second, Turner, I believe, is just going to win the regular season championship by the slimmest of margins.
Won't be much, that's for sure.
There's Massey battling with Hutton and trying to get their lap back around the 36 of Keith Mayata. Mayata, the leader of this race. A caution comes out. He'll probably cycle to it. And everybody will probably be out of sets of tires once everybody brings it back into pit lane, with Mayata still going to have one more laying in the box. Jeff Wright has cut in about 4 seconds into Joshua Banks' gap. We'll see where he will cycle out into as here comes Keith Mayata to pit lane. And he'll have 30 laps on his tires, just exactly what he ran this run. And now Joshua Banks has gotten the lead. Bailey Turner, 2.5 seconds behind. Jeff Wright, 11 seconds behind. And still a lot of points to be dealt, a lot of points, and a lot of positions to be settled in this race. Nick Starling fighting for his playoff life right now, as Atkins looks like will be out of a playoff spot right now at the moment, as Cody Atkins, 10 points, is actually tied with Nick Starling and ahead of Justin Carey. Hatchell getting by Adam Cabot here, and now Hatchell will have 1 lap fresher tires than Jeff Wright, who is 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds ahead. And the question is as well, Logan, when will these tires even out?
We're now up to 145 degrees with no cool down in sight. So I think at this point, you're really just going to have to run this car as hard as you can. Having that 13-second gap to the leader, you've got to do something if you're sitting in 4th place, Seth Hatchell.
You absolutely have to here. And Joshua Banks struggling in lap traffic here, trying to get around Keith Mayata. Or excuse me, Chris Samard here. Now Angelo Ronas going to split him in the middle here. And Samard gives room to the 35 of Banks. Banks going to be able to clear in front. And still a lot of gap between he and Jeff Wright. Wright 8 seconds behind, but a second faster a lap. There is a chance Jeff Wright can still win this race. But it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass. Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't like what you're seeing, I really don't know what to tell you. This has been an amazing strategic race from everybody in this series and in this field here tonight. 27 cars started, 23 currently run on the racetrack, as I believe Justin Carey or somebody else has brought it to pit lane. I think it was Caleb Weekly. Dallas Sullivan up another spot, I think, is going to get him pretty close to being in the chase for the BTDY Cup. Nick Starling, 10 points ahead of Cody Atkins, the exact amount of points he needs to be, and he needs to be 2 positions ahead of Justin Carey, which he currently is up 4. He needs to find a way around Nick Gardner and maybe another spot or another time around Dennis Faircloth to get himself in with a good enough shot to compete for a championship when we go to Atlanta.
He very well should be able to do. Huge gap on those tires. Nick Starling, 7 lap old. Gardner 21, Dennis Faircloth at 34. So it's Dennis Faircloth might have to pit one more time.
I think he does.
It's quite a run there. And then Kyle McGarvey up ahead of him on 33 lap old tires. So it's I think Nick Starling has plenty of time to get around where he needs to.
I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be close. We'll see what happens. We'll see. There's still 25 laps to go from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's go to one more quick commercial break, and we'll be back to get you the finish of the BTDY Marathon 300. We'll be right back at a quick commercial break, side by side here on VSPEED.
Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the nurturing reader at New Jersey street fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.
And welcome back live to the BTDY Marathon 300. Jeff Wright in hot pursuit of Bailey Turner off of turn number 2. The battle will be for the win with 20 laps to go. Turner on an alternate side. This could be the battle for the regular season championship. Turner, will he let Jeff Wright go without a fight? Here comes Wright looking to the inside. Turner, a little bit of left rear damage. There's contact between the 48 and 24. Wright cuts the inside turf. Turner not going to let him go, but I think he won't have really an answer for Jeff Wright as Turner goes to the outside, but Wright clears, and now 3 seconds separate between him and Joshua Banks, who might have to save fuel. And if Turner cannot finish behind Wright, Jeff Wright, or if Turner loses 2 spots, Jeff Wright, if he wins, will get the tiebreaker. So Turner needs everything, or Turner, whose rival has been Joshua Banks all year. They've had run-ins all year. They've gotten hit. They've hit together. They've gotten many incidents together. And now Bailey Turner is a massive Joshua Banks fan for the next 17 laps. Tell you what, Logan, these tires are kind of evening out a little bit. Do you think can Banks hold off Wright?
I don't know, man. We saw Wright come out of the pits with a 14-second gap or so, and it's already down to just 2.5. He's got 13 lap tire advantage on Joshua Banks. It's going to be a lot for Banks to handle to try to keep Wright behind him, but...
Well, the question is, when will Banks hit the tire cliff? Because right now, only 0.2 of a second separate the difference between 13 lap fresher tires. It's not a lot. That time, still 0.2. Banks is putting together some very solid laps. Now, the thing for Bailey Turner is he cannot lose a spot to Seth Hatchell.
2-second gap between Seth Hatchell and Bailey Turner right now. It's going to come down to the wire. If Seth Hatchell can get around Bailey Turner in the next 15 laps, I think that puts Jeff Wright in a great position to take this regular season points.
Especially because Travato, who has fresher tires than Hatchell, is right behind Bailey Turner. Or is right behind Seth Hatchell, I should say. So, I mean, there's not a lot here. I mean, there's not a lot separating Hatchell and Turner.
That's who we have there right in front of Seth Hatchell. I can't quite tell.
It's Dennis Steele in the 28 car. He is a lap down. And he has fresher tires, so it's kind of affecting the handling of the 8 here, being tucked in behind. And then you got AJ Travato, who is running down Seth Hatchell. So that could be another wrench into the plans of Bailey Turner. If Bailey loses 2 spots and Jeff's either winning or finishes second, and Turner loses 3 spots, it is over for Turner winning the regular season championship.
That's Travato there.
You want to have those extra bonus points too, because Atlanta, I don't know if you've seen the race at Atlanta. I mean, you know the finish, the 3-wide finish between Daniel Suarez, Kyle Busch, and Ryan Blaney earlier in February this year. Atlanta is capable of being a wild and crazy race when we get the Xfinity cars out there.
Yeah, I've seen it, Alec. It's one of those things that it's what keeps motorsports interesting. Whenever you get a finish like that, and you know, I've gotten a message already that there is another race that we had broadcasted tonight. The top 4 separated by 0.006.
The whole entire top 4?
The top 4.
That must have been one of the most epic finishes I've ever heard of. 4 wide? It had to have been. That's a good finish there indeed, and we'll have to check that out later. But I'll tell you what, Bailey Turner is going to be under pressure from Seth Hatchell and AJ Travato.
It's to finally catching up to Bailey Turner here and just closing that gap every single corner now.
This is going to be an issue for Turner. He needs to hold on to these spots. He's going to have 10 laps to defend it. Jeff Wright, even though in second, right now, only now 1 point separating 1 spot, gets them tied 2 spots. Turner -1 to Jeff Wright. What does Seth Hatchell? I don't think Seth Hatchell cares. Will AJ Travato try to play teammate here? Oh, Hatchell goes. Oh, there's contact. Hatchell gets put in the wall. Here comes Travato. 3-wide down the backstretch. And Turner might lose 2 spots. He does. And now right in the points lead for the regular season championship. Turner loses 2 spots. And now it's a battle for third between Hatchell and Travato, and was almost a wreck down the backstretch.
You know, we've been talking so much about how a caution would just flip the script on this race, and somehow everybody able to keep it clean right there. But like you said, Bailey Turner now back to 5th. Jeff Wright still in 2nd, closing the gap on Joshua Banks, now down to just over a second. He could make this gap even further for Bailey Turner.
As these two racing hard after almost a completion of 300 miles, over 280 miles complete, 8 laps to go here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hard charging battle for third between Seth Hatchell and AJ Travato, 2 champions, 2 well-renowned champions of the BTDY Racing Series, battling hard. Jeff Wright in second, a champion as well, battling to get the regular season championship tonight and get bonus points for the chase for the BTDY Cup. These two battling hard, hoping that they don't get together, and Turner hoping for some sort of incident as the championship, regular season championship, slipping through the grip of his fingertips as he continues to fall down the order as Cabot begins to run him down, as well as Brody Hayes. These two battling side by side, and Wright has cut it to 1.1 seconds on Joshua Banks, who is looking for his first win of the season. Servato and Hatchell still battling side by side. 6 laps to go from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Can Joshua Banks do it? Does he have enough fuel in the tank? Now there's contact for third. Hatchell, Servato leaning on each other into turn number 1. Hatchell utilizing the outside lane. He's going to get by. And Hatchell clears Servato for third off of 2 and into turn number 3. Hatchell slips up the racetrack a little bit. Now allows Servato to get a run down the front stretch. Servato looks low. Hatchell goes high to defend. Into one again, side by side, battling hard for third. Servato on the inside, Hatchell on the outside. Will Hatchell use the momentum on the outside to get by once again? Servato fighting hard on the inside, slides up the racetrack. Hatchell almost catches the wall. Hatchell has to get on the gas. Now Servato sends it into turn number 3. Almost contact. 5 laps to go for Joshua Banks. Hatchell, Servato still side by side for third into turn on the across the start finish line and into turn 1. Logan, if these two get together, there's almost bound to be a caution.
I certainly hope not after 195 laps out of the 200, being completely caution free, and the streak that BTDY has here at Racing Clean at Charlotte. It would hate to see it end like this with these two
Jeff
just
Wright,
door to door the whole time.
they have, and Jeff Wright has cut it to 0.8 of a second to Joshua Banks. 4 laps to go as these two continue to battle side by side for third. Wright has not been able to take enough of a gap out to catch Banks. Turner still in 5th, needing some sort of miracle to get him back into the championship points lead. They're still side by side for third. Not going to be able to do it here as Ken Servato send it in and clear the 8. Hatchell drives it into the outside. The question now remains, does Joshua Banks have enough fuel in the tank? 3 laps to go from Charlotte, 6 miles left to go.
I think Banks has enough to make it to the end, but Jeff Wright, you know he's going to be hunting him down the whole time. He doesn't have any fuel to spare.
Can Wright force him to run out of fuel? Coming down the backstretch, they're still side by side for third. A great, hard, clean battle between Seth Hatchell and AJ Servato. At the front, 2 laps to go for Joshua Banks. Does he have enough fuel? Does the alternative strategy work? A second clears him and Jeff Wright. Wright closes 0.9 of a second. But does Banks have enough fuel? A lap and a half to go for the 35 machine, looking for his first win of the season. Wright closes the gap even more. Wright searching around the racetrack for grip. 1 lap to go for Joshua Banks. A mile and a half to go for the 35 car, looking for his first win of the season. White flag is out. Race is official. Battling side by side for third after 298 and a half miles. Down the backstretch for the final time. Joshua Banks, he can almost coast from here. Barely enough fuel. And down the backstretch into turn 3. Banksy is going to be back in victory lane through 3 and 4. Joshua Banks is going to get his first win on a mile and a half. Banks wins the marathon at Charlotte. Wright comes home second. It's a hard, fat, door-banging battle for third. Servato edges out Seth Hatchell for 4th. Johnny Turner comes home fifth, barely beating Cabot and Hayes. Then Hutton, Mayato, and Ronis come home in the top 10. And Jeff Wright is the regular season champion. And how about that? And Banks out of fuel. What a win for Joshua Banks.
51
And if
laps
everything-
led and got the most important one.
It is. And if everything is good, Joshua Banks, winner, and now is going to have a good enough chance to win a championship with some bonus points to his name. And it's like Jeff Wright will, in fact, have some championship points added to his name for winning the regular season championship. Joshua Banks going to sputter it around on the start-finish line for his first one of the season. And we'll be right back to talk to the race winner, third place, and the regular season champion, Jeff Wright. Stick around for post-race interviews. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the nurturing reader at New Jersey street fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as her Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today. All right, and welcome back to the conclusion after the conclusion of the BTDY marathon race for the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and Joshua Banks getting his first win of the season. Let's go to our finishing results here from Charlotte. Joshua Banks, the winner on fuel mileage, barely making it on fumes. Banks is victorious here at Charlotte, and we'll get those racing, or those standings up, I should say, and take a look here in just a second.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had a great race, and my software never crashed once, but now it's going to give me fits. So give me just 1 second to get this lined out, and we'll get right to that.
All right, well, it's all good. And, well, you know what? Well, we'll wait to the standings till the end. How about we move on to our third place finisher? Might as well, since we're down on pit road, to AJ Stravato. Let's see. AJ Stravato, Alec Martinez, Logan Thurkeld in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, man, you come home with a third place finish in what was a long, clean, and green, no cautions, 300-mile race here from Charlotte. You come home third on a different strategy. Hard-fought battle there with Seth Hatchell. Take us through your race.
Yeah, first I want to shout out Seth. That last 10 laps, it's hard to pass here, but we had a really clean battle. And that was a lot of fun. But the start of the race, I tried to get by Seth right there because cleaner is so key. I thought I could control the race pretty well. Felt pretty good on my speed and just did a really good, really poor job saving the tires, trying to get around Seth. And once I didn't get by him, I kind of knew I was sitting duck and just kind of dropped a little bit. So hit a little early, got off strategy, and I don't know. The car was really good in the long run. I was doing a really good job with saving my tires. If I didn't do that the first run, wear the tires so much and slide through my box the first time, I think I would have liked our chances to win a little bit better. But with 200 laps green and coming home third, only what 4.5 seconds behind the leader, who was off strategy, we'll take that.
Yes, sir. And looking at the playoff seeding, Jeff Wright is the regular season champion by 1 point. You're going to come in fourth here, so you get fourth place bonus points. How do you feel about going next week? I know it's the All-Star race. I think it's at IRP, but then the chase at Atlanta. How do you feel about starting off there with some bonus points at a high seeding?
We'll be our. It's Atlanta Dega is never been gone well for me, so hopefully I can do a little bit better there and close the gap to Jeff. I know Jeff won that by 1 point, and him winning the regular season championship, and I think the most races is we're going to be in for a little battle, but I think I've figured out the Xfinity car a little bit better than I think in previous years. So if we can run well and have setups that drive off the right rear more than the right front, we'll be all right.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys were able to drive off the right rear tonight. Well, we appreciate your time, AJ. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, just all the sponsors who make it happen, league admins, VSPEED for doing a great job, obviously putting on these series, and just all the league admins and everybody that makes this happen. It's obviously a lot of fun to do on a Tuesday night. So, honor and a privilege to be here.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate your time, AJ. Go have a good night, and we'll see you next week for the All-Star race at IRP.
Yes, sir.
All right. And that's AJ Stravato, and I believe we're going to move to our second place finisher, and now our official confirmed regular season champion, Logan, is standing with Jeff Wright.
Jeff Wright, Logan and Alec Martinez up here in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Man, what a race you had tonight. You battled with Seth for pretty well majority of it all night. And then you find yourself taking home the regular season points championship here for BTDY tonight with a second place finish. Walk me through it, man. How do you feel?
Yeah, a little mixed emotions. It's never fun to finish second place, but especially in the longest race of the season. But Charlotte's not a place I love coming to, and so the fact that we ran pretty good and we had a chance to get the win, potentially today, that makes me feel good. And then obviously, yeah, winning the regular season championship. Or is that official yet? Have they named it official?
By our math, which, I mean, we've said multiple times.
It is official, yes.
Okay.
So we can celebrate. All right. I wasn't sure, so I knew it was going to be close, but I think, somebody passing Bailey late there, I think that helped us out to maybe either clinch it or I don't know if there was a tiebreaker involved, but yeah, that's going to be big. So the fact that we can take away regular season championship today, that's awesome. But man, really would have loved to get that win. I thought we were going to have a really good chance there at the end, but man, Joshua Banks just drove a great race, great strategy, and saved enough fuel. So a very impressive run for Joshua, and a well-deserved win tonight.
Absolutely, and yes, 100% confirmed. You stand 1 point ahead of Bailey Turner in the standings. So congratulations on that. Now, towards the end of this race, the biggest thing I am curious about, how was the tire fall off? That is the hottest race I've ever seen in iRacing. Track temperatures upwards of 140 for majority of it, peaking out about 145, 146 there towards about 3/4 of the race being finished. How was that car driving, Jeff?
Yeah, it was a handful. Early on when it was a little bit cooler and a little bit cloudy, it seemed like it was kind of pushing tight and everything like that. But I mean, the track heated up, sun came out, and that's when it's the most fun. So I'm glad that we had that weather transition, because I wasn't going to be looking forward to driving a tight race car all night. And this thing, it was hot, slick, it was on edge, just like we like it. So it kind of fell into our hands as far as how we like to drive it. But Seth, what a drive he had too. I kind of got lucky. I got by Seth. He got held up by some lap traffic, and that was kind of my opportunity to even get around him and then even be in the conversation for the victory tonight. So But yeah, man, the track temp was off the charts, like you said, and it made for a workout, that's for sure.
Well, again, you handled it well and really showed your skill out there to take home that BTDY regular season championship points. You are all good to go, my friend. Anybody you'd like to say thanks to before you depart?
Yeah, just big thanks to you guys up at the broadcast booth. You and Alec doing a great job as always. Big thanks to the league for putting this event on, Nick Sterling and all the admins, as well as tonight's sponsor. So I believe we got a handful of sponsors. I don't know if we had a premier sponsor on this particular race, but I know we got a lot of different sponsors that help all season long. So just big thanks to everybody involved.
Hey, not a problem at all. And again, congratulations, Jeff. Great race tonight.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
And that is Jeff Wright, your regular season champion and second place finisher tonight. And how about we move on to our race winner? Oh, sorry to interrupt your big conversation, but Joshua, you are a BTDY winner again, buddy. How does it feel?
I can't believe it, Alec. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's hard to believe we're sitting here at a 1.5-mile track and I'm talking to you in the winner's spot.
It is, and you're in the playoffs. I know you got the baby coming in as well, but it's good to have a good note going into the playoffs when you can't compete. I know next week All-Star Race take some cash home at a track you probably take a liking to at IRP. But how does this feel for momentum into the playoffs if you're able to do it?
Just lets me know I can do strategy, and if it all works out, it can work out really good, So momentum's there for sure. I know we had pace in this race, even if we, had cautions or something. I felt like we had long run pace. I don't know about leading, but we were pretty good. So going into the next few weeks, knowing we got some short tracks like IRP for the All-Star race ought to be fun. And hopefully we can just do some races. We'll see what we can show up to, but I know it's not going to be many, but we'll do what we can.
For sure. And I'd ask you, how does it feel to finally get that win? Does it feel like the monkey's off your back for this season?
I mean, it feels great. I'm gonna be honest. I would show more excitement, but the baby's asleep, so it'd be super loud. But it's such rewarding to get this win at a track I've ran decent at, but I haven't really been able to pull out the win with a lot of these guys. They've been obviously better at strategy or pace or something. So to be able to do the strategy for it to come all together and keep Jeff behind me, which is big feat in my opinion, because that's tough to do, especially with I don't know how many lap older tires he had. It was tough, but it was definitely rewarding. It feels good to finally break through and win at a 1.5 miles. I know a lot of people say I can do good at short tracks, pull out wins there maybe, but 1.5 miles is just not my strong suit. So getting a win here is huge. I love it, especially at Charlotte. Really good track. I really like this one now. And just hopefully we can keep on winning here, man.
For sure. Well, we appreciate your time being here, buddy, and your time talking to us. Is anybody you want to give a shout out to for the win?
I mean, admins, you got Nick up there and everybody, all the admins doing a great job with the league. We put on a good show for everybody watching on the broadcast for y'all. So hope we did a good job. And shout out to the admins putting, like I said, a good league on. And you guys up in the booth and VSPEED, shout out to you guys up there, always doing a fun job. I'm anxious to see how y'all are in the booth for this race. It's going to be fun to watch back. So thank you guys for that. And shout out to you guys. Shout out to sponsors, Matco Tools, 45 years with them. And also AB Motorsports and my channel, Banksy the iRacer. You can come watch the perspective from my end, see my reaction and everything, and see how the strategy unfolded.
For sure. Well, we appreciate your time, Josh. Again, congratulations on the win, and we look forward to maybe seeing you next week in the All-Star race.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you, man.
All right, have a good one, brother.
You too.
And that's Joshua Banks, race winner from the BTDY Marathon 300. And I don't know if you got him now, Logan, but do you have the finishing results here for tonight?
I do have the finishing results, but I'm going to put out, excuse me, I'm going to put out a disclaimer. It did mess up, so that's why you saw Joshua Banks, Jeff Wright, Stravato all having the incorrect positions on their name. I believe there's only one driver in here that messed things up, so Alec, I'll let you take it away and
all right.
let you do what you do best, buddy.
All right, well, it's all good, so let's look. at the finishes is there's Joshua Banks, your winner. Starts 14th, comes home with the win. How about that? 0 cautions, 20 lead changes. That's what it's all about in BTDY, and we love seeing that. Jeff Wright comes home second. AJ Stravado third. Seth Hatchell, the pole sitter leads the most laps, comes home fourth. Bailey Turner fifth. Adam Cabot sixth. Brody Hayes in seventh. Eric Hutton is eighth. Keith Mayato ninth. And Angelo Ronis rounds out the top 10. Ray Massey is 11th. Noah Mahalski 12th. Nick Starling points his way in a solid night to make it to the BTDY chase for the Cup. He will be starting in the 12th seed, but he comes home 13th with a solid night. Kyle McGarvey comes home in 14th. Chris Samard comes home 15th. 16th is Nick Gardner. 17th is going to be Timmy Emanuele. 18th is going to be Nathan Ostrowski. 19th, Dennis Steele. And 20th is Dallas Sullivan, going to be in the chase for the BTDY Cup. 21st is Justin Carey, just missing out by 2 points over Nick Starling into the chase. Caleb Willigley comes home in 22nd. Dennis Faircloth, 23rd. Michael Newman, 24th. Max Koss, 25th. Alan Dice, 26th. And Cody Atkins rounds out the 27 car field here tonight. Logan, what a race we saw. Strategies all over. Now it's time for the chase. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. Of course, we've got the All-Star race next week for BTDY, so make sure you tune into that. But right after that, we're into the playoffs, everybody. It's going to be heated. It's going to be good racing.
Yes, sir, it is. It's going to be an awesome, awesome event. Well, we appreciate all of you that support our channel and watch every week here at the BTDY Racing Series. And again, come back next week for some All-Star action at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the BTDY All-Star Race from the Indianapolis Raceway Park. And after that, the week after, the start of the BTDY Chase for the Cup. Until then, we'll see y'all later, and hopefully tune in to all the racing that on VSPEED this weekend, and hopefully we'll see you back on Tuesday night. Until then, have a great, safe week, and we'll see you next week from Indianapolis.
And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out the 37.
Oh!
Cabot.
Where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.
A push for the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.